because of an evolution of a great nation to where we are today.
The David Webb Show, weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot.
Never gets old.
Capitalism or cancel culture? The choice is yours. The Wilkow Majority.
We've come this far. Sounds like he is completely soured on the Iranian regime. We'll take it for a few more minutes. Go ahead.
Hey, Sean McCreesh, New York Times. But why aren't you flying the new plane home?
Say what?
Why aren't you flying on the new Air Force One?
It's flying to Europe, to one of the big bases, 2 or 3 of the big bases where we can show it to the people. And we'll be going home by normal methods. But we have it going to Europe, to a couple of bases, actually one in particular, but it's going to go to a couple of bases so the soldiers can see it because it's truly magnificent. Yeah, please. Go ahead. Do you want to go? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. President, harici media Tunç Akkoç, Türkiye. Mr. President, it seems that the war with Iran may start again. What do you expect from your European allies?
No, I don't think it's going to start again. I think it's going to go very quickly. They hit a couple of ships, and so we hit them much harder. When they hit, we hit 10 times harder. We hit much harder than they do. We have a lot better equipment than they do. We may even, somebody else before, do you think you'll hit them tonight? I said, we might, yeah, we might. But when they hit, we hit. It's what we use their language, we speak their language. No, I don't think so. I think anything that happens is going to be over very quickly. And we'll only make it safer, including for oil. Oil is going to be very free, very easy, and it's going to happen very fast. We have the Street that most have pulled out. I mean, there's a gushing of oil right now. We have a lot of oil. And we're not looking for the long term.
I'm not sure what that is. Something on the inside.
You said today that MS Now.
MS Now, that's a failing network. Why would you want to work for them? MS Now, can you imagine? They wanted to get away. They took the name NBC because they were best by. Go ahead, let's go. This question.
You said today that countries like Spain, Italy, and the UK were not there for the US and its war with Iran. Should those countries be attacked, will the US be there for them?
Well, I'll tell you what, number one, Spain has been very bad, but Italy's been good, and almost all of the countries have been good. They just had a bad moment. They didn't help us. We didn't need to help, but if we would have wanted to help, I said, by the way, if I want help, sure would rather remain on the sidelines, and I didn't like that answer. You came with an answer that was sort of weirder than that. They want to help. I said, would you like to help? They said, we do, but we want to wait till the war's over. This was not in the spirit of Winston Churchill. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, I can only say if there's one word that comes out of today is unification. I've never seen anything like it. Every one of those countries, they love us, they love each other. That was tremendous unification. It was a nice thing to say. It was a very fair question, Jim. Green. Yeah, you were green, right?
Thank you, Mr. President. Eda Turul from Haber Global TV, Turkey. Mr. President, after your meeting with President Erdogan, can you tell us whether you and President Erdogan reached an understanding on Turkey's return to the F-35 program and the future of U.S.-Turkey defense cooperation? And do you believe U.S.-Turkey relations are entering a new chapter right now?
Well, I had a great relationship in my first term. You remember Pastor Brunson, and he was put in jail for 35 years, and I called. He was an evangelical hero, actually, very good man. And I called President Erdogan, and he let him out. I didn't pay anything like Obama and Biden paid billions of dollars all the time. I never paid any for anybody. I just let him out. Let him out. But in this case, I didn't say it the second way. I said it the first way. I said, look, he's a good man. He's highly respected in the evangelical, and I'd like you to let him out. And he was in my office, in the Oval Office the following day, Pastor Brunson. I had a great relationship with him every Joe Biden got in, bad things happened with a lot of things between the border. Everything was bad. We were laughed at all over the world, and we had a very bad relationship with a lot of countries. I think Turkey was one of those countries. But that changed on November 5th when we had the election. And it's one of our best relationships. We have a great relationship. And they're talking about the F-35 airplane, and it's the best plane, and everybody wants it. And we have to make a decision who we give it to. With my inclination, because again, he's not a huge fan of Bibi, and he's not a huge fan of Israel, but he stayed out of that war. He could have got into that war very easily, and he did that by request. He stayed out of that war. He's been a very good ally. I mean, Marco could tell you we have a very strong relationship with Turkey. It's a very big country. It's very powerful militarily. It's the second most powerful country in NATO. It's a NATO country. So whether or not we do that, I haven't totally made up my mind. But my inclination is to say, look, he's done everything. He's helped us in so many different ways. And you know who else has been good to us? China. China, they never came into the war. They get 50% of their oil from Australia. They never came into the war. They never said, I'm going to send a ship in 5 destroyers along each side of the ship. They never did. No, President Xi's been great. Everyone's been sort of great, to be honest. You know why? Because they respect our country again. They laughed at our country. They thought we were a bunch of fools. They saw a president that couldn't talk, he couldn't walk. It was a disaster. They lost respect for our country, but now they have more respect for our country than they've ever had before. Thank you all very much.
We are going to punch out there. We have to take another break, and then we can get our program going. So I think we learned over the past 45 minutes and 40 seconds that Trump is done dealing with the Iranian regime. They are striking ships in the Strait of Hormuz. They have no intention of following any protocol as it relates to not having a nuclear weapon. And my question for anyone who's an Obama voter, do you really believe that the Iranians could be trusted during the Obama years and Biden years as it relates to the Iran nuclear deal? We are right, they are wrong. That's the end of the story. The arguments in this radio program cannot, will not, will never be broken. Sirius XM Patriot.
All those mosquito bites. Recently, the family and I were listening to SiriusXM's Doctor Radio channel on a road trip, and all my dad does is change every song lyric to something about summertime health. I mean, we did learn about sunscreen, bug spray, first aid for camp, hydration. Just drink some water. That's all super helpful, but this is getting to be a bit much. Please sing. Have fun and stay safe all summer long with Doctor Radio, channel 110, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Now, if a family member or friend asked you for financial advice or where to go for tax help, well, would you send them somewhere with hundreds and hundreds of complaints? Of course not. That's why for years you've heard me say if you do owe back taxes, if you didn't file returns in years gone by, or if you are a business owner and you're behind on payroll taxes, you need to call my friends at Rush Tax Resolution today. Now, hiring the wrong companies can make your situation a lot worse and put you, your family, and or your company in jeopardy. Now, there are a lot of imposters out there, but Rush Tax Resolution, they are the only tax relief firm I trust and recommend. They are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They have protected so many of my listeners from tax disasters and saved them a ton of money. Call Rush Tax now for a free IRS transcript investigation, and they'll tell you upfront and for free if they can help you. They will only take your case if they know they can help you, period. 800-258-7050. 800-258-7050. RushTaxResolution.com.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. Your certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies for seniors just like you. And at Abacus Base.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees, no obligations. Get real value for your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/patriot to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/patriot for 20% off. Trustandwill.com/PATRIOT.
Sorry, keeping DC off your back since 2006.
What is this, Jock Jams? All right, phone lines, 635 Patriot 957-2874. So let's get something you may not have heard earlier in the day, earlier even before the program. Cube Cut 4. This is the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte cheering on President Trump's actions, despite Democrats saying this is a pointless war. Cut 4.
I think it was absolutely necessary because when you have a ceasefire and Iran is basically violating the ceasefire, we see what happened yesterday with ships being attacked. I think it is totally crucial that the US forcefully reacts. I also expect allies today to discuss Iran. I expect allies today to reconfirm that Iran should never, ever get its hands on a nuclear capability. And secondly, that the principle, the freedom of navigation, so the Strait of Hormuz completely opening up again is a sine qua non, is crucial for all 32 allies.
Seems like the Secretary General understands that. It seems like our allies, quote unquote, are just waiting for us to do the dirty work once again. Waiting for us to do the dirty work once again. I want to meet somebody. I want to speak to somebody because I see all these people, the commentators. I see the social media. I see the pundits. I see the YouTubers. Oh my God, we had a deal in place. Oh, we had a deal in place. Yeah, but it's obvious that Iran makes deals they have no intention of upholding. So I want to know who really believed that somehow John Kerry or Susan Rice or any of these people negotiated something with Iran that was doesn't look like that at all. And again, Chuck Schumer was against the Iran nuclear deal until he was for it. Only when Donald Trump got elected, then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I trust him now. Again, remember this. First, there had to be a debate over whether or not there would be inspections. Then there had to be a vote of the member nations of the agreement. That could take God knows how many weeks. Then, once that vote was cast, if it was decided to do the inspection, which is not guaranteed, then you would have to wait 24 days before you could do the inspection. 24 days. And we're supposed to believe that Iran wouldn't just pack up their stuff and move it if they knew an inspection was coming. I mean, come on, please. Nobody believes that the Iranian regime, in whatever iteration it was in, going back to 1979, was acting on anything that was positive. They want a nuclear weapon. As Trump said, they are the bullies of the Middle East. It's not just Israel. It's not even just the United States. It's the world. The whole world will have to negotiate with a nuclear-armed Iran if they succeed. 1-695 Patriot 957-2874. And I don't know anyone who thinks we can afford to let them succeed. I don't know how anyone thinks that once they cross that threshold, once they get there, there's no going back. Here's another clip you may have missed earlier before the program. Cut 1. Here's Trump talking about the Memorandum of Understanding, Cut 1.
It's his fire cut, the MOU debt.
That's why I answers the question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with this scum. You know what scum is? This scum is sick people. Held up by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, so speak to them, negotiate, if they want to negotiate, they're good people. See what Jared Bush, but they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. Liars. We make a deal. And then if I make a deal with them, we have a deal, and he goes out and he goes, you make a deal, everyone's agreed, no nuclear weapon. You make a deal, they go outside and talk to the press, they say we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them, they're cuckoo.
Trump understands they cannot be trusted. Trump understands that whatever they sign on to is meaningless because they have no intention of upholding it. Trump knows that the second we turn our backs on them, they will restart, if they can, a nuclear weapons program. And I don't know how many times it has to be said, but they can't be trusted. And there are people that really do believe that Iran was upholding the deal as it relates to the Iran nuclear deal under Obama and then later re-entered by Biden. I just don't know who actually believes they weren't attempting to develop a nuclear weapon at that time. I just don't know who really believes that. 1-695 Patriot 957-2874. So, there's that. And Trump is saying, I don't trust them. I can't trust them. They've turned out to be horrible as partners in this. So we're just going to keep hitting them until they finally give it. I don't think you wanted it to be that way. I don't want it to be that way. But that's the way that it is. All right, let's see. What do we got coming up? Let's see here. We have, good. Maine State Representative Laura Libby, Executive Director of Lead Maine. We're going to talk, of course, Grant Plattner. Looks like he's not planning on dropping him. And I don't know how they're going to force him out unless they're going to, do the Kamala Harris thing? Just say, well, we don't recognize him anymore, we're going to install someone. You had a primary, he won it. And then our friend, Representative Ken Cameron's going to join us in the third hour to talk birthright citizenship. I mean, she says it's got to be fixed by legislation. It looks like there's going to have to be a constitutional amendment. And if this isn't going to push people toward the Article 5 convention, I don't know what will. Because the Democrats they're just waiting it out. We're right, they're wrong. That's the end of the story. The arguments on this radio program cannot, will not, will never be broken. Do yourself a favor, follow me on Twitter. It's good for you. We are right, they are wrong. That's the end of the story. Sirius XM Patriot.
Ready for a bathroom upgrade that won't disrupt your life? Jacuzzi Bath Remodel is here to help. Take the stress out of renovations with quick, professional service from the name America trusts. Affordable, stunning selection of tubs and showers, each designed with style, safety, and your budget in mind. With customizable features like grab bars and seats, your new bath or shower will meet your entire family's needs.
I absolutely love my new bathroom. It's very hard to believe that they get it done in one day. Jacuzzi really outdid themselves.
Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free design consultation and quote. Call 800-561-3386. That's 800-561-3386. 800-561-3386. With purchase and installation financing through third-party lenders, subject to approval. No interest and no payments paid in full within 12 months. Interest charged from purchase date not paid in full. Not all will qualify. Call dealer for details.
Think about just how hard your liver works every single day to keep you safe from toxins, nitrates, artificial colors, AGEs, and emulsifiers in our food, ethanol and alcohol, BPAs, and other toxins in the air and water. Our bodies are under constant assault, and our liver is our main line of defense. This time of year, between cookouts, celebrations, our livers are working overtime. That's why I take Active Liver from New Nordic. It contains natural ingredients like globe artichoke extract, milk thistle, and turmeric to help provide the nutritional support my liver needs. I love that it's available as either a tablet or great tasting mango. Way to give my body a daily detox. Active Liver is available at CVS, GNC, Meijer, and Wegmans, or search Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon. Take it from me. Show your liver a little love with Active Liver by New Nordic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Never gets old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125. News this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump closing the door on that memo of understanding with Iran.
President Trump says the MOU with Iran has collapsed.
To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them with this scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. Speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
The president says Iran's actions have left little room for the agreement to continue. Willie Nelson, Washington.
Also today in Turkey, the president noted that former President Barack Obama tried to negotiate with Iran by giving them money. He said that did not work out well.
And they took all of the cash from Virginia, Maryland, and D.C. banks. They had no money. They took every ounce of cash, put it in, flew it to Iran, and gave them the money. I wonder what these guys thought of when the door opened and cash fell out of this big plane, beautiful plane.
And the president threatening not only more U.S. airstrikes, but also noting that they would be aimed in some cases at civilian infrastructure, including electric and desalinization plants, and to seize Karg Island. That's Iran's oil infrastructure hub. The president made his remarks today in Ankara, Turkey, on the sidelines of day 2 of the NATO summit. So you think it costs a lot more these days to fill up your gas tank? Consider the plight of the major airlines as they try to stay in the air. Here's Rich Thomas.
U.S. Airlines spent $6.66 billion on jet fuel in May, an 84% increase from the previous year. It was the second month in a row with fuel costs exceeding $6 billion, following April's $6.47 billion. The latest government figures indicate the rise is mainly due to pricier jet fuel, as consumption in May was slightly lower than a year ago. The average price per gallon, $4.09. Rich Thomason reporting.
Slow going on Wall Street. The Dow is down by 605 points. More from townhall.com.
Let me ask you a question. Are you carrying a balance on a credit card right now? If you are, you're paying somewhere around 24% interest. Wow, 24%. That's not a loan, that's punishment. Meanwhile, you're sitting on a house full of equity at a fraction of that rate. The math is insane, and the credit card companies are counting on you not adding it up. Fellowship Home Loans does the math. For over 20 years now, Mike and Brian have helped families consolidate that high-interest credit card debt into their mortgage and start keeping the money they've been bleeding out every month. Everything is done in-house. One roof, one team, all with a servant-led mentality, people who know your name and treat you like family. Break up with your credit card. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. Or call 800-510-MIKE. 800-510-MIKE. 800-510-645. Check out Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382. An AI program in the state of Utah has sparked a vigorous debate, and it surrounds healthcare.
That debate is about the role of the technology in healthcare.
Utah is the first state in the nation to allow AI to renew prescriptions for patients. Previously, that role had always been reserved for doctors and other medically licensed professionals. Technically, state and federal laws don't allow AI programs to handle prescriptions, but officials in Utah have waived those requirements for inDOCtriNATIONlive, maker of the AI chatbot that converses with patients and can send refill orders to their pharmacy. The Federal Food and Drug Administration has signaled it doesn't plan to intervene. Keith Peters, Washington.
It's going to cost you more to mail a letter soon. The U.S. Postal Service is once again raising the price of its forever stamps and other postal rates. Starting Monday, the stamps will increase by 4 pennies per stamp, up to 82 cents each. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
Fusion of rational thought and political analysis. This is what your brain has been waiting for. News, politics, and issues. Enhanced. You have just joined the Will Count Majority.
Your generation of great talk radio, the founder of the new school, that's me, Andrew Wilkow, Sirius XM Patriot. Phone lines, as always, 695 Patriot, 957-2874. The email, you spell the name right, WILKOW at WillCountMajority.com. Individual Patriot first, conservative second, Republican third, and working every single day to make this the most popular program offered by Sirius XM Radio, because it's based in one thing and one thing only, and that is rational thought. So welcome to the Will Count Majority. I'm Andrew Will Count. All right, so we heard it. We heard President Trump for almost the first hour of the program saying he's done dealing with the Iranian regime and notes they cannot be trusted. And that's the end of that, it looks like. They cannot be trusted. The head of NATO, if you haven't heard it, I'll play these clips again, said, look, the United States was right here. The world cannot afford a nuclear-armed Iran, and that's why NATO needs to start putting up. It can't
be right back, guys.
The United States' responsibility alone. I am sick and tired of the United States being the world police. But you know what? You've got a world that's like, well, we got T-Rex arms. We don't want to do anything. And again, it's not just Israel. It's also the threat to the global economy, our economy, in the Strait of Hormuz. Play cut 4.
I think it was absolutely necessary because when you have a ceasefire and Iran is basically violating the ceasefire, we see what happened yesterday with ships being attacked. I think it is totally crucial that the US forcefully reacts. I also expect allies today to discuss Iran. I expect allies today to reconfirm that Iran should never, ever get its hands on a nuclear capability. And secondly, that the principle of the freedom of navigation, so the Strait of Hormuz, completely opening up again, is a sine qua non, is crucial for all 32 allies.
So maybe all 32 allies should pitch in, help out, do something here, right? Pitch in, help out, do something here. I don't think that's difficult. The hard work has already been done by, once again, the United States saving the world. The United States, once again, has to save the world. And you know what? I agree with everyone who is sick and tired of it. You know, the Europeans and Ukraine, it's their backyard. Why is the United States expected to fix all of their problems? Why? Why is it 695 Patriot 957-2874? Cue up cut 2. Here's Trump talking about our so-called ally Spain. Cut 2.
To Italy, I didn't speak to Spain. Spain is a wasted cause. We don't want to do any trade business with Spain anymore, by the way. I'd like you to cut it off. Spain is a terrible partner in NATO. They don't participate, they don't pay. I don't want anything to do with Spain. Cut off all trade with Spain, please, including visits. Okay, we don't want anything to do. Watch them come running back. Oh, they'll come running back. They treat this man terribly, and this man's a good man too, great man. They're lucky they have him. But Spain doesn't agree to anything, and you shouldn't carry him. I mean, they sort of automatically carry him. You're protecting an area, so they're there. So they probably figure they have to protect us, right? But we don't have to. We don't have to trade with them. I don't want to do any more trade with them. All right? So they get immediately. You don't even talk to them. They're hopeless. Bad people.
I think he's learned I wouldn't say it's the hard way. I think it was Obama that didn't seem to, seem to understand what he was dealing with, or didn't want to, didn't care. 1-695 Patriot 957-2874, and Spain. Okay, well maybe it's time for NATO to start thinking about what it means to be a member. I mean, for all these years, the United States was one of the few countries that fully contributed their dues, while Spain, Germany, and others barely contributed at all. Why should they be allowed to not contribute? And when you hear some of these journalists, well, if they're attacked, you're going to defend them. Well, if they're not contributing, if they're not upholding their part of the bargain, why should we defend them? Why should we defend nations that refuse to pay their fair share? I thought Democrats in this country were obsessed with fair share. So when do we start getting the fair share? When do we expect them to pay their fair share? I don't know. But it doesn't seem like they do. Right? Why is it 695 Patriot? All right, let's see. We do have a lot of stuff to get to. We're going to be talking to a Maine state representative about Graham Plattner. And then while we're on the subject of being the world police, here's Samantha Power on MS Now saying Donald Trump is causing deaths around the world with cuts to USAID. Cut 5.
I guess there's some perverse good news in the fact that this is finally getting under his skin. I mean, these projections were available from the very minute he began slashing these programs, he and Doge, backed by the president, and nothing stopped them. They didn't ask these kinds of questions about what the human consequences would be when you interrupt medical services, when you deny people access to food that in many cases was sitting in warehouses that had already been purchased thanks to the generosity of the American people, or when you shutter a pharmacy and basically block people from getting access to meds that they can see on the shelf inside the door. None of those questions that are being posed here in June and July of 2026 were posed in January, February, March, April, when those programs could have been maintained, even pending a good faith review as to whether this administration wanted to continue those programs. That's not the approach that was taken. There was no regard for the human lives at stake whatsoever.
Again, I want to know how it became our obligation to feed, to medicate, to educate, to provide for the entire world. This is something I don't understand. It's something I just don't get. That we've shouldered this obligation since 1962. And Trump said, what have we gotten for our investments in the world? The answer is nothing. We take our money, we give it to corrupt governments, or we give it to NGOs that don't actually do anything. They don't actually accomplish anything. If our so-called investment in poor countries was paying off, all the poor people wouldn't be coming here. It's easy. The old saying, bleeding heart liberal. Oh, I care. You want to cut children off from medicine in developing countries. How effing long should it take them to develop? How effing long? This is what I want to know. How long should it take? We've been at it since 1962. And somewhere along the way, all of these academics, you know what it is? We've created bureaucracies, agencies, where we just stick people who get big degrees but don't really have much to offer. We've been conditioned to believe that if somebody goes to an Ivy League school or to Georgetown or George Washington and they get a degree, that they have to be parked someplace because, well, they went to this college, so now we have to give them a job like this. I call them ransom jobs. DEI coordinator, ransom job, right? If you don't do it, bad publicity. So ransom job. We have these people in these nonprofits, in these NGOs that are making 6- and 7-figure salaries, but they're not solving any problems at all. So I don't know why we keep spending this money where it gets us nowhere. It just seems counterintuitive. Why would we give money to corrupt governments and then allow them to send their poor people here? You know what? I got to be honest with you. If I were in the governments, and was the New York Times, one of the Atlantic had a thing that Latin America is taking a huge rightward shift. But if I was in the African government, Central American government, South American government that was getting an endless supply of tax dollars, I would be laughing at Americans behind their backs. Hell, I'd be laughing at their faces. Here's how this works, and this is perfectly executed political analysis. I'm not giving you an opinion. We send a country $1 billion, and they send us 100,000 people. So we sent the money down there for you to prop up agriculture, prop up civil government, prop up healthcare and education. And the people are coming here. So you don't even take care of those people anymore. You're sending your unemployable people to the United States for them to compete for jobs with Americans, then send the money home. So we send all this development money to any one of these countries. We send them development money. They send us the people. Well, what the hell is the point of sending them development money if they are sending us their people? And Democrats, this country was built by immigrants. Haitians built this country. Somalis built this country. No, the F they did. This country was well established before anyone from Somalia got here. And if they're such wonderful, productive people, why aren't they home building up Somalia or Haiti or wherever the F they came from? If there's such a value to us here, why wouldn't they be such a value to their home countries? Or isn't there really not? What's happening is these governments are encouraging people to leave the country. And then whatever money we send them, they take care of. I don't even know what they take care of, but they're not taking care of them. They're not creating an economy for those people to work in their home countries. They're saying, go to America, because the stupid Americans will give you everything for free and then give you cash that you can mail home. And we're such stupid people when it comes to that. We've got a pause. We're getting a bit of a respite. But make no mistake, if the Democrats win in 20 and they have the down ballot, they're going to flood this country with another 20 million people. And then they're going to restart USAID, make you pay more taxes to accommodate the people they're inviting here, but then they're going to send your money to those foreign governments as well, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever to send money to a foreign country, then accept their people into this country, and then provide for them here as well. Then you've been double dipped. Either the money goes there and the people stay there, or money goes there and some of the people come here. But you can't have, again, the open border and the welfare thing. These things don't work. They don't work. I'm not just giving you an opinion here. I don't criticize your opinion. It's not an opinion. I'm laying out how the machine functions or doesn't. I'm just running a laptop out to Defiance, and I got to go all the way to Green Springs and get back in time for a business meeting for the bar. What the hell are their governments doing? You know, they have natural resources in Africa. Maybe they should not let the Chinese come and exploit them. And if they are, they have corrupt governments. Why are we sending them money? Why are we sending them money so the Chinese can come in? They live high on the hog. You want to talk about the 1%? All these democratic socialists, we have to rebuild this country with democratic. You want to be like Norway. You know what Norway doesn't do? This stuff. You know what Denmark doesn't do? This stuff. They're not stupid. Right to 695 Patriot 957-287. Were you damn right I'm fired up? It's the hardcore summer. I don't slow down around here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it doesn't matter. We go hardcore every day, free. Car on the side of the road. Actually westbound, but I like the song. I've reported a car on the side of the road. Thanks. We are right. They are wrong. That's the end of the story. The arguments on this radio program cannot, will not, will never be broken. Sirius XM Patriot. You know the hits. Now get to know the man behind the music. Yo, what's up? It's the Dream. Welcome to my world. The Dream takes over the club. We're getting into some songs that I wrote, the stories behind them, and the music from my new album, Love Hate 2. On the Dream Radio. On now. 6 p.m. to midnight Eastern on the Snub, Channel 48, and in the Sirius XM app. Fed up with stubborn earwax? Get Wax RX from Dr. Easy. Dr. Easy professional ear washers have been used over 40 million times by medical professionals. Now you can get the same results at home with Wax RX, the personal ear wash system. Just like our professional ear washers, Wax RX flushes away stubborn earwax without a trip to the doctor. Don't be fooled by store brands and cheap knockoffs. Pull into a Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart right now. All the way up to 90 already here. Wax RX in the ear care aisle. You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/patriot to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/patriot for 20% off. Trustandwill.com/PATRIOT. A lot of companies are suddenly pretending to care about patriotism because of America's 250th birthday this year. Black Rifle Coffee didn't need a reminder. Since day one, BRCC has proudly celebrated America, our military, our flag, and the people who keep this country running every day. That's not a seasonal campaign for them. It's the foundation the company was built on. Veteran-founded, American roasted, no gimmicks, no fake messaging, and this summer, what the fuck, dude? Energy everywhere with limited edition red, white, and blue commemorative bags for fan favorites like Just Black, Beyond Black, and Spirit of 76. These are the coffees built for early mornings before the rest of the house wakes up. Long weekends at the lake, road trips with family, and cookouts that stretch late into the night. Because patriotism isn't supposed to show once every 250 years. It's supposed to mean something every day. Find the commemorative bags now at Walmart, your local grocery store, Black Rifle Coffee Shop, or online at blackriflecoffee.com. Veteran founded, American roasted. This is America's coffee. Oh, yeah. Slater. One of my favorite descriptions of an American comes from Frenchman de Tocqueville in Democracy in America, 1831. He said, while the Europeans I don't mind it at all. Build these
fancy boats, and they have their veteran mariners. The American boats are fast, and Americans are tough, and that's one of the best. And that way, for hundreds of years, the more we tap into that, the even stronger we can make it.
Finished with my potato cake. I'll check it out.
Never gets old. I want you to think about something for a second. What if you die tomorrow? And something bad happens, you die. Your family no longer has you to provide. Will it be okay financially? Could they cover the bills, keep the house, keep things going financially? What about your kids, their future, their education? Well, I have good news. There is an easy way to help protect your family. That's with life insurance through Ethos. Ethos makes it easy getting life insurance. It's 100% online, no complicated process, no medical exam, just a few simple health questions. And with Ethos, you can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You'll even get your lowest rate from their network of trusted carriers. And some policies are as low as $30 a month, and you can get up to $3 million coverage. You know, it's 8 to 10 minutes. Get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. For your free quote, visit ethos.com/willcount. That's ethos.com/willcount. Rates may vary. Application times may also vary.
You're listening to the Will Count Majority with Andrew Will Count.
Oh yeah, we'll jam this.
Ran them roads like we own the land. Two dumb kids with the master plan. Laughing at danger. Never thought about fate at all. But it put our lives on different lines. Swear I seen it in your eyes when we joked about never coming home. Now you both fall quiet in the places I walk alone. So I sit right here in narrow spots where I feel you here, but I know you're not. I drink through the night, holding heavy and high, wishing you're somewhere. Your name still hangs in my heart like a dog did. And the truth hits hard in that folded flat. Jacket still hanging on the back of that chair. Smells like smoke in the life we share. Left with a promise to be back someday. God, why do you take the good ones away? Funny how the brave never call it brave. They say I'll be fine, I'm going anyway. And I swear some nights the wind cuts through like a piece of you. I feel it when I sit right here in narrow spots where I feel you here, but I know you're not. I drink through the night, holding heavy and high, wishing you're somewhere. Your name still hangs in my heart like a dog can. It's hard and that floating flat. Your path that is where the good ones go. To the open gates down the golden road. I hope you're looking down with a smile as I sit right here in narrow spots where I feel you here, but I know you're not. I drink through the night, holding heavy and high, wishing you're somewhere. The same old sky. Your name stays hanging on my heart like a dog tail. And your memory lives in that folded flat.
Thank you. Thanks for sending that.
$32. New York City Mayor Zohar Mamdani is far more popular among Jewish Americans than Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, according to a new survey. The Associated Press and NRC Center for Public Affairs Research released a poll this week showing Netanyahu with a negative 27-point net approval among Jewish Americans, while Mamdani scored a positive 5-point net approval. Survey 44% of Jewish adults view the Muslim mayor of New York City favorably, and 39% view him negatively. Netanyahu, meanwhile, is viewed unfavorably by 59% of Jewish respondents. Another 32% said they view him favorably. The poll showed support for Israel dropping, and views on the country's strikes in Gaza have received mixed reaction. A third of Jewish respondents accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza, where tens of thousands reportedly died as a result of strikes. About half of Jewish respondents, 49%, denied that Israel committed genocide. Approximately a third believed that Israel's initial military response to the October 7th terrorist attacks by Hamas were justified, but only 40% backed Israel's current military operations. So in other words, they just want to leave Hamas in place, I guess. If this is real, and look, demographic weighting,
man.
Questions,
not even off the road.
If that's the case,
car at the side of the road.
I've reported a car at the side of the road. Thanks.
And I would have to say it's Jewish Democrats, because it ain't Jewish Republicans. Okay? Then there's no helping. Right? There's just no helping those people. They're just adrift. They're lost. There's no bringing them back. I don't know.
Jewish Democrats are just
after 10-7.
Self-hating Jews.
Zohar Mamdani was celebrating 10-7. His wife was celebrating 10-7. She still celebrates 10-7. The Democratic Socialists of America, his party, celebrate Hamas. I mean, can you imagine if they really were the rule of law in this country? If it wasn't the Constitution, if it wasn't Western civilization, if it was just the savagery of some of these countries, I mean, I don't know what the hell you're thinking. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. If that's accurate, then it's pure insanity. But they're all smiling, right? They're all smiling. They're smiling. They're smiling. Oh, isn't that Zohar Mamdani smiling? He's smiling.
What happened to that?
He's talking about the entrance down grocery stores, and confiscating property and taxing the rich and the free buses and all this stuff. He's not getting this stuff done. He's going to run out of whatever infusion of cash he got from the state one time only. And then you're going to see the real problem with socialism. By the way, he is taking a 20% salary increase for himself and his staff because he hates money. But this Al Saeed guy, same thing. He's smiling. They're all smiling now. All the Democrats, they're all smiling young people. We're in the future. If you really believe anything that they're offering is the new high, you don't know anything. Really don't know anything.
More than the construction there.
And that's unfortunately the problem.
All right, I just got to run in and give somebody a new laptop here. I'll be right back.
Somebody who actually pays attention.
To find my way in.
I don't pay fees. That level of stupidity. 926-95 Patriot 957-2874. Cindy, Las Vegas. You are first up. Go ahead, you evil heartless babe.
Boy, no kidding.
Oh, all right, let me see. I'll be right back.
I just finished working 12 years for an Iranian, and I got to tell you, to tell your audience, those people do not think like we do. They don't think like we do. They're lying, cheating, conniving people in every respect. So quit thinking that they're going to think logically about anything. And on top of everything else, he is a Jew. And I had to twist his arm and his brain to get him to try to vote Republican. It was a terrible battle for 2 years. Anyway, I had an idea. I wanted to bounce off you. You don't have to answer me yet. Just think about it. I'll take your answer off air. I'll have birthright citizenship. What happens if we put this on our Customs and Border Patrol? They fly in, ship in, however they come in. Don't we still have forms such as what are you bringing into the country, vegetables, meat, whatever? Why can't you put them up that they're closer, whatever? They're immediately deportable.
Well, something has to be done. We're going to try to have, let's say, a sales tax. People, it's no guarantee that, people could shop in one town and not the other, and you might not have any revenue at all. I'm just saying that's just the logical thinking that we've sort of settled on our local governments issuing an annual property tax.
Right, and because of those thoughts, and I was talking with members of our GOP, they nominated me to run for commissioner here in Chafee because of these great ideas. You put
All right, we're back.
You know, it's funny, your town, I've been to your town. I remember going there, and the Bernie Sanders sign was bigger than the welcome to the town sign.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
but you got
years ago, it wasn't like that.
You got good beer there, you got good bread.
Walmart, Fremont, Ohio.
That nice river, you can rent like a raft and go down. It is a quaint little town.
It is, but it's been overrun. I mean, Eric Coomer moved here.
Will not do it.
Dominion, Eric Coomer. And after that, we haven't had a Republican nominated to any position here. So, yeah, but we're fighting a good fight. I'd like to get on your promises made, promises kept segment at some point so we can talk a little more. But we're going to try to make
Congress and commissioner, because we're not going to. Yeah, we were. I mean, if we did went down to the local level, we would do nothing but interviews of people. Yeah, we're a national show, and we kind of gotta,
I get it. Well, I am running because of you and your recommendations to start getting involved if you don't like the way things are going. So thank you, and I'll let you know.
This is what I will tell anyone, and the Democratic Socialists are running. They're running a smart playbook. They're not shooting for the White House initially. They're going for like local elections. They're building momentum at the local level.
Exactly.
All right. Well, good luck to you. Good luck in your race. Great little town you got there. Let's see, who do we have here? James, South Carolina. You were on the Wilkout majority. Go ahead, you evil heartless bastard.
Thank you, Andrew, for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
You had that one call in and talking about illegals and personal citizenship. There are laws already on the book as far as I know that if you're here illegal, you're illegal. So I would suggest that if someone here temporarily has a baby or illegal, they have a baby, they have no right to stay in the country. So they got a choice. They want to go home, they can go home, and they can take their baby. If they take their baby, they have to renounce the citizenship of that baby of the United States. Or if they leave that child behind, there's child abandonment laws.
It could be raised by extended family, but what we've pointed out is that if people are visiting here and they have a child, they're allowed to go home. We don't say, well, wait a second, that's an American citizen. Now you gotta stay here. We don't do that. So if we don't, this idea that if somebody wants to stay, that the whole family gets to stay because that child has to be raised in the United States, that's a kind of a nonsensical proposition. Thank you very much for the call. All right, we got to take a break. Let's see, what do we have coming up? We have the Maine State Representative Laura Libby. She's been on the program before, Executive Director of Lead Maine. We're going to talk all things Grand Platinum and trans athlete bands. Sirius XM Patriot.
Baseball's best home in Philadelphia for the MLB All-Star Game. And MLB Network Radio on Sirius XM is your all-access pass. Shohei Ohtani strikes out the side here, the home run derby and the All-Star Game on Channel 89. Kyle Schwarber once you're live on the field talking to baseball's A to Z.
Joined out by Kansas City Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr.
Coverage begins Monday at 5 Eastern on Channel 89 in the car and on the Sirius XM app.
Western Financial Group is no longer.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%. And there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you get a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains.
car on the side of the road.
I've reported a car on the side of the road. Thanks. Your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331. 800-848-1331.
Fed up with stubborn earwax? Get Wax RX from Dr. Easy. Dr. Easy professional ear washers have been used over 40 million times by medical professionals. Now you can get the same results at home with Wax RX, the personal ear wash system. Just like our professional ear washers, Wax RX flushes away stubborn earwax without a trip to the doctor. Don't be fooled by store brands and cheap knockoffs. Pull into a Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart right now and get the original doctor-invented Wax RX in the ear care aisle.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. BlendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. BlendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. BlendSeek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
Hey, Tim, what's wrong?
Somebody brake checked our truck. Their claims chaser attorney thinks his neck needs $50,000 to feel better.
And?
Now I have to go to court, negotiate with insurance.
No way, Tim. We have Samsara now. Dual-facing AI dash cams give us clear video, and instant retrieval means we can pull footage fast before they change the story.
So instead of ruining my quarter,
you just send the footage to legal.
Visit samsara.com/today to reduce risk and stop false claims with clear evidence. I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. You start online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/apply. That's ethos.com/apply. Big testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Do you really want another summer like last summer, barely sleeping because you were too hot all night? Well, people blame summer heat for bad sleep, when really it may be their mattress trapping heat. And if you already sleep hot, summer only makes it worse. That's why my family is switching to Ghost Bed. We started with my 16-year-old, and we've got more beds on the way. They help keep you cool all night, no waking up, sweaty, tossing and turning, or throwing the covers off at 2 a.m. Cooling tech is built into every mattress. It's not just some expensive upgrade you have to pay for. Hot sleepers are some of Ghost Bed's happiest customers. And I'm telling you, I got to pick up my daughter from practice tonight. She'll be doing practice way into the evening for field hockey. She's going to come home, fatigued, tired, cranky, probably would be uncomfortable if it wasn't for the Ghost Bed. I know she's going to get a good night's sleep and not overheat. Ghost Bed helps you by giving you 101 nights to try it at home. You can sleep on it all summer long and feel the difference for yourself. How many more summers are you going to waste on bad sleep? Ghost Bed is having their lowest prices of the year and an extra 10% off for my audience. With financing, some Ghost Beds come out to around $1 a day. Go to ghostbed.com/WillCow. Use promo code WillCow. That's ghostbed.com/WillCow. Promo code WillCow.
Getting your brain right in the field. He's Andrew Wilcow.
All right, what's the rule, ladies? I want you to know the rule. If you're going to be raped, make sure your rapist is a Republican. Because if it's a Democrat, they're going to do nothing but make excuses. So I want you to listen to this. This is Antonia on MS Now, basically saying these women are liars. After all of these years of believe all women, now they found women who are lying. Cut 7.
To that comment about the sort of post-Me Too era and the debate that sort of happened in the Democratic Party after this a series of allegations around Graham Plattner, part of, I think, what made it complicated for some Democrats to fully believe the woman who was at the center of the last round was that she was associated with right-wing politics. But this woman, she I want to read part of what's out here. One of the reasons, she says to Politico, I didn't come forward sooner was the huge moral conflict that I had between supporting his politics. So she is saying, I actually agree with Graham Plattner, his positions, his politics. She's clearly more on the left, but not supporting him as a person. I just want the truth out there. I just want people to have a whole scope of who he is as a person.
Okay, so let me see if I understand this. If a Democrat rapes a Republican, we don't believe all women. We just assume that the victim is lying because they're conservative. Now, the second woman, who claimed to be an ex-girlfriend, and this is a little bit rough in the language, says that he broke into her house, held her down, had sex with her against her will, and even ejaculated in her. He was also known to strip off condoms in the middle of sex with other women. But remember, if a conservative woman is raped by a Democrat, we automatically believe all women. Joining me on the program right now is Maine State Representative Laurel Libby. How you doing?
Great. Thanks so much for having me on.
How do we deal with this? I mean, they said believe all women. The case of Brett Kavanaugh was a 35-year-old case where Dr. Christine Blasey Ford didn't really remember the details. Her friend said the stories never happened, never occurred, but the media said, the Democrats said that's it. Kavanaugh is a rapist. In the case of E. Jean Carroll, she lifted an episode of Law & Order SVU. She won in civil trial. Now they say he's not convicted of rape. Now, Graham Plattner is, in the criminal sense, innocent until proven guilty, but now we have two women that have said he was sexually abusive. One said he violently raped her, and the Democrats are saying, well, but.
I think we allow the Democrats to speak in their vat of hypocrisy that they've created here. They've gone on the record so many times, and then, last month they ignored allegations altogether. They poo-pooed them because it was coming from a conservative woman and not a Democrat, but now they can't ignore it because it's coming from a Democrat woman. And
he's a bipartisan rapist.
Bipartisan is a little bit of Graham Plattner to go around for everybody. I think we just let them sit in this mess that they've created. This is a mess that the Democrats are making. They have advanced this extremist candidate whose policy positions are as extreme as his behavior, and now they get to reap the rewards of this mess of their own making.
The underlying theme here is that he shares every other value. I mean, we've heard, the ladies on The View said they would hold their nose and vote for him if they lived in Maine. They have called anyone they don't like a Nazi, a fascist, and a racist, and even a rapist in the case of President Trump. The man literally had a Nazi tattoo for 20 years of his life. Why he got it in the first place, nobody. Well, he was just, in a different phase. We've all had ups and downs in our lives. We don't get Nazi tattoos. They've made every conceivable excuse for this guy at every step of the way. And I don't think it's done. I think more's going to come out. Maybe you know better. You're there.
Well, I think there is more to come out, and I saw an interesting post about some possible main care fraud allegations regarding $9,000 that has now been paid back. So stay tuned for more on that.
$9,000, that's nothing compared to multiple rapes.
No, that's nothing, but it does go to show, it does point to character, I think. And we've heard enough about Graham Platter's character to know that he is not suitable for the Senate. He is not suitable for any public office. But now he is a close primary. Democrats are stuck with him unless and until he decides to step down. And so, they're jockeying to put forward other candidates. They're trying desperately to replace him and be able to just gloss over this chapter, but they can only do so if he actually steps down of his own volition.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, they have a funny track record of just making a candidate in a backroom deal. They did it with Kamala Harris.
Well, I'm sure that they would probably try to do that here, but first, Graham Plattner has to step down. And there's no two ways around that. That is the process here in Maine. That is in statute. And so if Graham doesn't step down, then they don't have the opportunity or option to replace him.
Good. I hope he doesn't.
They're stuck with him, aren't they? I mean, we're having a laugh at this, but I mean, it wasn't just he was another guy out there running. I mean, the big leaguers came out to endorse him. I mean, even when the allegations started to pile up, Ro Khanna's like, well, I'm going to go campaign for him. I mean, Elizabeth Warren said she's his kind of man. They all lined up behind this guy, and really, these two activists, the Democratic Socialists, they're the ones that created him completely outside the vetting process of the Democratic Party.
He did. And look, I don't think that even these Democrats who have disavowed him, I don't think they have a problem with him being an alleged rapist. I don't think they care. Frankly, the only thing they care about is whether he can win the race. And now that it has become apparent that he cannot win, now they're telling him he should step down. It has nothing to do with his character. It has nothing to do with the things that he's done. And it has everything to do with the viability that he has in this race or doesn't have.
I think we all know that if he wins, all of this stuff is going to get memory hold, right? They're not going to keep him from caucusing with them. It's just going to get memory hold. They're going to say, well, we're looking forward. We're not looking back. This is about fighting fascism and standing up to Trump and the future and single-payer health care. Real quick, while we have a few minutes left, isn't your governor all in for biological males in women's sports?
You know, we keep making the news for all the wrong reasons. Yes, our Governor Mills, made Maine quite notorious last year when she challenged President Trump with her reckless and unpopular agenda to keep biological males in girls' sports. It's an extreme agenda. Graham Plattner supports the same. They're peace and thought up here in Maine, and I don't think that the rest of the country wants that.
Wasn't she supposed to be the next in line to be the senator? I thought she was the one.
Well, she was. She was the establishment pick, if you recall. And so there's this skirmish going on in the Democrat Party between the Democrat Socialist arm, who is then fighting with the status quo Democrat establishment arm. And boy, having seen a Democrat majority for the last 8 years and Democrat governor, if you think the run-of-the-mill Democrats like Governor Mills are bad, wait till we see Graham Plattner and Graham Plattner acolytes get elected around this country out of frying pan and into the fire.
I know that it looks all like the new hotness now because the Democratic Socialists have racked up. Look, they're running a smart playbook. They're starting at the local level. They're winning, city council seats, mayor races, state assembly seats. They're not shooting. They're not putting all their resources into one candidate to run for president the way, let's say, the Libertarians have. Right? The Libertarians try to run for president every year, and every year they get shellacked and smoked, and they go through all their resources. If they were smart, they would do the exact same thing that the Democratic Socialists are doing. But they are building momentum here. But at the same time, they're also extraordinarily off-putting to any normal person not in a major city.
Yeah, I mean, let's call it like it is. You referenced it. If they did the same thing the Libertarians did, which is what they should do, right? Forget calling them Democrat socialists. These are socialists. Graham Plattner is a socialist. He wants you to own nothing and be happy. And that is what their agenda is across the country, but they're doing it in a much smarter way than the Libertarians by calling themselves Democrat socialists and taking over the Democrat Party. And every American looking at this agenda that they want to pass should be very, very afraid. We cannot let these people gain control. And frankly, I think one should be hoping that the establishment Democrats win this fight, but we absolutely need to defeat this Democrat socialist arm of the party this year in our elections, not just in Maine, but across the country.
But, Susan Collins is not some, MAGA loyalist. She's moderate Republican. It's not like they're vanquishing Ted Cruz. I got to leave it there. Laurel, Libby, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, third hour next. Sirius XM Patriot.
As a business owner, you know what it's like. Payroll's Friday. Rent's due. That big order just landed and you don't have the cash to fill it. Forget waiting on the bank. Switch Funding can get you working capital of $10,000 to $5 million in as little as 24 hours. Low credit score? No problem. We look at your business, not just a number. Been in business over 1 year? Bringing in at least $40,000 a month? Switch Funding can get you the cash you need fast. Apply now. SwitchFunding.com. That's SWISH funding.com.
When we started Open Root Sports Club, we needed a strong foundation. Gusto has had our back since day one, making sure every hire, every paycheck, and every player is taken care of. They're the team behind our team. With Gusto, we stay rooted and give Oakland the love it deserves. I'm Idris Arganawal, co-founder of Oakland Roots and Gusto customer since 2018.
See why 500,000 businesses trust Gusto for payroll, HR, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com/roots.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids, no matter where you are. Call now, 800-575-4181. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-4181. That's 800-575-4181. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Never gets old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125.
News this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The president says new defense deals announced at the NATO summit are bringing jobs back to the United States.
At the NATO summit in Turkey, President Trump is highlighting billions of dollars in new defense investments with American companies.
And just today at the summit, we announced $3 billion of new defense investments with U.S. companies. All of these agreements directly benefit the U.S. defense industry base. And what it really does is it means jobs. And
the agreements are expected to boost U.S. defense manufacturing and support American workers. Willie Nelson, Washington.
The status of a New York City high-rise remains in question today following yesterday's fears of a partial collapse. Here's Julie Walker.
A 37-story building under construction in Manhattan is said to be stable after support columns buckled Tuesday, prompting fears of a partial collapse, forcing evacuations around 42nd Street on the east side. Buildings Commissioner Ahmed Tagani.
I can say right now the building is stable. It has not moved since we started monitoring it.
The old Pfizer headquarters is being converted to a residential tower with an addition added on when workers saw columns on 21 Buckley.
We feel confident in the emergency plan that we have now to make it stable.
Julie Walker, New York.
Emergency teams are racing against time in Venezuela, where those two powerful earthquakes recently left widespread devastation and many people dead. Rescue operations hampered by damaged infrastructure, heavy traffic, and continuing aftershocks, making access to some of the affected areas most in need very difficult to reach. Meanwhile, SRN News, Town Hall News, and our parent company, Salem Media, are partnering with Christian nonprofit relief organization Food for the Poor to rush meals, medical kits, and other essentials.
We've got a bit of a Carmelo Anthony update. In fact, his new defense team has rolled out their plan to get Carmelo released from prison. On top of that, more people going after Jeff Metcalf. We've got quite a bit of updates on Carmelo Anthony. There was a nearly 200-page document that was sent to try and get the judge that presided over the case that convicted Carmelo Anthony rightfully of taking the life of Officer Metcalf
removed from the case. That's just how desperate they are. So let's get into it. There's a couple of mini updates at the front side of this video, and then the new filing from his defense team coming up in this video too. This is a fun update. Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, has received a cease and desist letter directing him to stop using the term watermelon felon. Now, I think he said that word one time ever, and for people who understand, he was not using it with hate in his heart. He was saying the context that got removed from that phrase was something like, hey, they're going to call me all sorts of stuff on the internet, and so what if I just said this? There's a clip for you, kind of thing. Now, I guess thankfully he didn't say the danger word. That would have been very bad, but now he's getting sued. The term is copyrighted and patented, valued at $100 million in pure 0.999 pure silver, and owned in a foreign trust, apparently. What decided to do with it.
This quarter, for their watermelon film, there is lyrics to the song. And this is what's funny. It's not only written from an attorney, but from the City Side Records. So this is what I think about.
By the way, I have an update that I am just literally bursting at the seams, literally and figuratively, to share with you. I can't just yet. There's going to be some big news. I have been in contact. I have made some connections for some people. There may be something to announce soon, but we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out.
About the cease and desist that has been sent to me. And as you can see, you're welcome to do whatever you think you need to do. If you think I'm the one that's violating some sort of record you have. I'm just going to put it right in here with the rest of the ashes.
So, I mean, that's just kind of a light update. Obviously, interestingly, though, someone did apply for that term as of June 12th. Imagine it'll be tough for them to prosecute. No, he doesn't own it. Then Jeff went on to talk about what's going on with the Tyler Robinson case right now. I thought that was interesting. It seems like he's getting more and more connected kind of with TPUSA, which I think is good. I still believe TPUSA is and was one of the most valuable tools in getting Trump elected. And so maybe that's why some people hate it, because they're mad at Trump right now. Understandably, there's some reasons why maybe people are. But I like TPUSA. I think they do great work. I think they lead with faith, which is, I think, extremely important, and it is an admirable mission. If you don't like who runs it, I guess, okay, fine. But I happen to think Erica Kirk is a nice woman and not deserving of any of this insane criticism she's had. But he had this to say leading into the trial. And by the way, we're going to talk about their new legal filing right after this.
This is what happened when Erica stood up there and said she forgave him. That was the same exact thing I did. And my phone started blowing up because they're like, oh my God, she just forgave him just like you. And I said, people understand forgiveness is for me. And so I don't carry hate, anger, revenge inside of me. You have to let that go and rely on your faith. Because it says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You really need to learn how to let that go so you don't carry it around so it won't eat you up like cancer.
He's 100% right. Now, he did take a lot of flack when he initially said that. But, I think that ultimately he's right. that carrying like this animosity towards people does eat you up like a cancer. And I think sometimes it actually turns into other, I know that's a little more like, you know, let me get my liberal crystals out here. But I do think that there is this thing that happens to people who carry an immense amount of hate. And I think that manifests and it can metastasize into other things. And, you know, ultimately, it's just not a good thing. And it looks like he is now perhaps, you know, joining TPUSA to help continue Charlie's journey and sharing the good word. I think Jeff is a good man, a good Christian man. You know, maybe he isn't a perfect man. I'll see if I can get him on the show here. I know he's basically done all the massive shows out there. So now that I have a direct line of connection, I'll see if he wants to come on, perhaps make an announcement on the show. That would be fun. But we'll have to see how that shakes out. The thing is, he also had this to say, which I thought was really very, very, you know, Christian of him to say, and I do believe him when he says it.
You always want to protect your kids, and you know, the stuff online. And let me say this up front: this goes for both sides, not just my side. I want to make this perfectly clear. The stuff that's going on online, the memes, the pictures, the vile comments, look, they come from the far right too, with pictures of Carmelo saying very vile things that are going to happen to him in prison. I don't condone that. That is not who you need to be. Stop it, please. These are two kids. One's dead, and the other one's in prison. So there's no good outcome. There's nothing good about it. And making memes and derogatory remarks on dead children or imprisoned children, I'm sorry. You need to check yourself. You need to really look in the mirror and go, wow, who am I? What kind of person am I?
And I'm not going to police memes. Okay, so if people want to make memes about Carmelo or whatever, I'm not going to police them. You know, the jokes and this stuff and that, like, you know, I don't, he's right, I'm wrong. He's a better man than me. You know, I don't know if, you know, forgiving somebody for saying something mean to you on the internet or something like that is very different than like forgiving somebody who did what happened to his son. But now let's lead to the new desperation move from Carmelo. See, this is from Minister Dominique Baby Shaker Alexander. Okay. Legal defense team representing Carmelo Anthony has now filed a verified motion. Doesn't matter that it's verified. He just says it's verified because he thinks that makes it more authentic, but more like a bigger clickbait thing, to remove Judge John Roach, who's the guy that presided over his hearing. And by the way, perfectly, from what I've seen, you know, there's no real complaints here, the way that Mr. Roach presided over this case. They want him removed from all remaining post-trial proceedings. The defense has also filed a motion for a brand new trial, raising constitutional and legal challenges stemming from the trial. Of course, these things were not objected to during the actual trial at any point by any of his $700,000 defense team. And they want the issues decided by an independent judge. Now, of course, he got ruthlessly ratioed here. Sarah Fields saying, not going to happen. Keep on grifting, though, by all means. Lots of luck, Baby Shaker. That's responsible for 5 cops. I don't think that's true. I don't know. I've never heard that part. You know, I feel bad for all the people that fall for your grift. It's funny to watch, but kind of sad, you know, that you're a sellout. Here's the article in the Daily Mail. Outrageous new entitled request by convicted murderer Carmelo Anthony revealed as he launches a fresh bid to be freed from prison for taking the life of Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony is seeking a brand new trial, but also wants a different judge to oversee any future legal proceedings in his conviction for the murder of Austin Metcalf. His defense team has now revealed. The same jury that they suddenly had a problem with sentenced him to 35 years in prison, rejecting his claim that he acted in self-defense, which of course he did not act in self-defense. We know this. There is no shred of evidence that he acted in self-defense. His defense team's own witnesses basically testified against him, right? Now his legal team is working to overturn Anthony's conviction and has confirmed it filed a motion for a new trial. The attorneys are seeking to remove Judge John Roach, who presided over the June trial, from any future proceedings on the case. The legal defense team representing Carmelo Anthony, that's the tweet. Anthony's new legal team never bothered to explain why. Well, I have the documents, so we're going to look at why they say it. They didn't explain why they want Judge Roach's removal. I'm going to guess they're going to want to say they want a black judge. That's not like a dig at black folks. I'm just saying that's basically been the nexus or the fuel for all of their asking for various, excuses after the conviction. But in a previous interview with the Daily Mail, attorney Lee Merritt, who is not a member of Anthony's legal team but is advising the family, they have a lot of family advisors, including Charleston White, who is about to lose a defamation lawsuit against Sarah Fields to the tune of $500,000 US American dollars. Hope she gets every penny. He outlined the arguments he expected will be raised by the appeal. The appeal will be based on multiple grounds. Merritt told Daily Mail in June, including whether race was a factor given that no black jurors served on the panel, whether Anthony received effective legal representation. Now, first of all, if every minority got to appeal because there weren't enough minorities, whatever that number is, on a jury, we would never have any convictions.
Car on the side of the road.
I've reported a car on the side of the road. Thanks.
And they're minorities for a reason. In prison, well, why would that person deserve to be on the jury? Well, Carmelo Anthony's defense basically resided or completely hinged on racial solidarity, hoping that they would have somebody in that jury that would say, well, he's black, so I'm not going to convict. Much like the OJ trial, for example, right? The way the communities reacted to that, just, very, very different along racial lines. Now, Michael Ware, the man who leads the Texas Innocence Project that helps get inmates off death row, is part of the team, although Anthony is a client of Ware, not the Innocence Project. Anthony and Metcalf have never met before the trial. We already know what happened at the trial. We're not going to, they just fluff out their articles, rehashing everything we know. We know that, we know that everything that happened. Sarah Fields went through all 193 pages of the motion for a new trial filed by Carmelo Anthony's legal team. I'm incredibly unimpressed, and if they think these are strong grounds for a new trial of a piece of beachfront property to sell them, the majority of the motion complains about the restrictions surrounding the trial itself. They gripe about there not being an overflow room and the fact that many people couldn't attend. Well, that, again, what does that have to do with the trial itself? What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't have to do with the evidence. It doesn't have to do with what the jury saw, heard, and decided. It doesn't have to do with anybody who, wasn't part of the trial at all. Just people who could, have loud outbursts or something like that. Multiple affidavits were submitted by random self-proclaimed journalists and activists who traveled from out of state, only to complain that they couldn't get into the courtroom. I recognize several of the names. These people were not even covering the case in the beginning. Some of them were not even there every day. And when they were there, they didn't arrive until 5 or 6 a.m. Now, remember, you had to get there very early to get into the trial. If you understand the day-to-day process of getting into a courtroom, you knew that every person was for themselves. You couldn't rely on the sheriff to hold your place in line. If you wanted in badly enough, you could get in. I'm living proof of that. I was in the courtroom every single day because I arrived at 3 a.m. I wasn't willing to give up my place in line. You had an opportunity. You just had to work for it to be one of the 27 members of the public allowed in. Oh, no bathroom breaks either. You can't, there was no you and you get in. It was just first come, first serve. They also complained about seating and supposed lack of transparency regarding public access. If anything, Carmelo supporters had more opportunities than any other families of the Carmelo and Austin. Inside the courtroom were Austin's family, Carmelo's family, myself, members of the media, a few of Austin's friends, and the rest were overwhelmingly Carmelo supporters. I didn't want to hear that they couldn't get inside. One affidavit also complained that a person was removed because they were hanging around the jury pool and were told they couldn't taint the jury. I told you about that day that happened. Remember, that was a woman that was filming the jury, many of us believe, probably for intimidation purposes. Another complained about being removed for not wearing appropriate clothing, again, something the accountability culture doesn't know anything about. You're supposed to wear, they're probably wearing like a Free Carmelo t-shirt. You can't go into court wearing that. It's pretty obvious. We had that case of a lawyer, I think in New York, that wore some political t-shirt at a trial and got removed, right? Another major complaint, Senator Mike Howard, mentioning that Carmelo was a member of the chess club, and there had been an agreement not to introduce character evidence unrelated to what happened under the tent that day. Under the motion, Bill Worski considered the breach of an agreement and planned to bring up Carmelo's prior bad behavior during cross-examination. They claim this is why Carmelo ultimately chose not to testify. So to rephrase that, they are admitting in this appeal that Carmelo has had a history of bad behavior, and they didn't want that coming up in a court. So they want a new trial? What? Well, Mike Howard, sounds like your mistake for bringing up the chess club. Sounds like Carmelo should have been raised better. Sounds like a whole lot of boo-hooing. Not a legal basis for retrying a murder case. Pathetic excuse for a motion for a new trial. I was already convinced this case wasn't getting a new trial. After reading all 193 pages, I'm now more convinced. I mean, ultimately, we know they are not getting a new trial. The only thing that I can say definitively as an out, kind of, you know, what might lead them to a new trial, is the general fear of the narrative that will be created. The narrative that he didn't get a new trial because he was black, blah, 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 blah.
No, because he had a fair trial already.
My biggest fear is that he'll get a new trial because they're afraid of public backlash, which courts shouldn't be making their decisions on. You know, 193 pages of absolute nonsense. This new trial is not going to be approved. This is a last-second desperation move, and I hope he serves all 35 years. I mean, that's just the reality. That's the reality of it. You know, like there's no real, you know, it's wild, you know. I mean, what do you all think this is how this is going to shake out? I don't think he's getting a new trial, but I am kind of on the fence about whether or not they're going to be like, well, the public backlash, something like that. You know, they might be worried about that. I don't know. To me, there is no grounds for it. That's just my opinion, though. You know, that's me. What do you guys think? I don't think there's any. I mean, Texas, if anything, you know, probably going to not be interested in giving him a new trial. Not because he doesn't deserve one, but because, I'm sorry, not because of his skin color, but because he doesn't deserve one. There's not been an actual case made to, you know, to get a new trial. I've seen no evidence whatsoever that would, you know, lead us to believe that he's going to get a new trial, first of all. And I've seen no evidence whatsoever that he deserves a new trial. You're one of the many thousands of people watching on the homepage of Rumble right now. Please remember to click through on my name, The Quartering, and follow the channel. I go live at a wide variety of times, and I don't want you to ever miss a live stream. And speaking of Rumble, I want to give a huge shout out to Rumble Wallet. It's the only place I store crypto So I'm really happy to give it a shout out here. And here's a word from Rumble Wallet. We hear a lot about crypto. Here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. If you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. It's true. I still don't even really understand everything about it. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet, and I do. It takes all the complexity out and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank card and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly.
Me too.
This now, scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game.
Click on the dollar sign.
You can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And my crypto's been doing pretty good lately, so I'm glad to have it. This next story is a little bizarro world one, a little bizarre one that we're going to talk about. Tyler Robinson, that we're going to talk about this new race war thing that they're trying, that the community's trying to start. I fully expect Candace Owens to get on board on this at some point. But here we go. One of the most, controversial quote-unquote streamers, a streamer that has basically been banned or screwed over every platform he's ever been on, goes with the name of Sneeko. In my opinion, he is a fake Muslim influencer, somebody who is paid somewhere directly and or indirectly to promote this ideology to his young fans. And over the weekend, Elon Musk and others were calling for him to be deported. Now, Sneeko is, of course, an American citizen. He can't be deported, but I do wonder why he doesn't choose to go over and live in Saudi Arabia or Qatar or any of these other areas that he so clearly loves. And to me, he's getting called out basically by everyone in the book, whether it's Elon, Alex Jones, or even his buddy, Andrew Tate, because he's a fraud. And, if there was a way to deport American citizens, leave a like on the video right now if he'd be on top of your list. I mean, Ilhan Omar would probably be on top of my list. But, I mean, this is the guy, right? This is a guy who's,
This is the Islamic Republic of New Yorkistan. Islam will be in every household. Inshallah, the whole world is Muslim. Welcome to Mamdani's New York. You see this city? You see how it looks? Inshallah, your city looks just like this too.
No thanks. I'm good on that. Of course, then he started his stream by playing an Islamic nasheed about jihad, which Tucker Carlson tells me there's no such thing as jihad. Even Aiden Ross, who is effectively his boss over on Kick, says, Sneeko is in trouble.
No religion should ever force someone to join, you know what I mean? But I feel like he has to, bro. He's so deep in this rabbit hole, he has to just do it, I always have love for him, bro. He's performing. I just think he's just going in that rabbit hole. I would say America as a country is what a Christian country. Well, it was at one point, correct?
Yeah, it is, and should always be. Just so we're clear.
Agreed. So, who are people to come in and this is a Jew saying this. Who are people to come in and we respect religions, but I just think like someone saying something like, "Hey, America, it needs to be all Islam." And just I don't know, like this one. It's just, dude.
No. I don't want any Islam here, by the way. Elon Musk has called for the deportation of Islamic streamer Sneeko after Sneeko was on video 4th of July weekend calling for Islamic takeover of the U.S. and for every household in America to become Muslim. A couple months ago, I raised my concerns with Sneeko said he had a direct line to Nikita Beer, who works at X, and that he was an X streamer. I showed X how Sneeko regularly promotes these people, and I'm glad to see their eyes have been open. I'm so grateful that Elon Musk has spoken out about the threat of this ideology, and I'm grateful for Nikita has started to crack down by demonetizing foreign accounts that are pretending to be American to divide America. We need to see a crackdown on X on the promotion of this ideology. I agree with, by the way, the crackdown on. I don't want to see any of it on my X feed. Yes, freedom of speech. Okay, fine. You should be able to allow to see it. I just don't. You should be allowed to say it. I just don't want to see it. Okay, let me be I guess, more clear about it. You know, the two biggest offenders are Sneeko and Hassan Piker. Additionally, we need to put pressure on Kik, whose CEO is Iranian. What type of Iranian CEO who claims to have family that fled Iran tolerates this pro-IRGC poison on their platform? Are you kidding me? Why does Kik pay Sneeko nearly $200,000 per month to poison the minds of young men? Well, why does Kik look? I don't think he should be deplatformed. Okay, I think the best thing to do would be to counter his opinions. But this is the guy that is promoted.
Hey, Nikita, I'm on stream. Hey, yeah, I think everything's figured out. So
he's probably, by the way, this is a guy. Well, I can't say, but he has he's not been a good businessman. I'll say that with the platforms that have worked with him. And if X wants more information on that, I'm happy to provide it. But I guess I can't put it out there publicly like that.
Hey, Nikita, I'm on stream.
So he's deeply connected to X.
Yeah, I think everything's figured out. So is there a chance we can save Twitter, well, X communities?
Again, on the whole deplatforming thing, as long as he's within terms of service, I don't agree with that. I don't think he should be deplatformed. But I do think it's important that people understand who these people are and who's paying them, and exactly what their goal is. Their goal is to spread a dangerous ideology, poison the minds of young men in this country. This is him having an absolute meltdown. This is one of the most bizarre retorts to Elon Musk asking for him to be deported that I've ever seen. I don't know what it is between Hassan and Sneeko. Now they think they can go buy a suit and suddenly their opinions mean more. Hassan himself has admitted that he wears a suit as a propaganda tool so that when the people play his clips on other news networks making fun of him or challenging his ideas, people see the suit and they think, oh, well, this guy's smart. On top of that, I guess it's probably a tried and true. It's the same way that Americans fall for these British accent people. I won't name names, but there are a lot of UK people who have a lot to say about America and have never even been here, aren't citizens here. And I love people in the UK. I love my UK viewers. And it's just the same way, my UK viewers probably don't want me telling them how the UK should be run. I think we probably agree on, immigration, but ultimately I don't think that they want to hear from me about that. That's why when I hear these smarmy Brits talking about our First Amendment, our Second Amendment here, I don't want to hear it. But he absolutely melts down.
Elon Musk is an African migrant calling for me to get deported.
He can stay. He can stay. Elon can stay.
Born in New York City, a couple blocks from where I live now. Where would I go?
Saudi Arabia?
Where are you going to deport me? I'm
Afghanistan?
This is my country.
It's not.
You can't take me anywhere. I'm exercising my right to my First Amendment, my right for free speech, my right to practice my religion. The real American position.
By the way, it's my opinion. You can let me know in the comments. This freedom of religion thing, and I know it's a slippery slope because the left will often say, well, the Second Amendment was written before modern day weapons. I get I'm making the same argument here, but I think I can make this argument better. The freedom of religion was basically, if I'm remembering this right, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'll probably mix up these two. But the freedom of religion was not about allowing Islam to flood into America. It was basically to keep Protestants and Catholics from battling or something like that at the time. Both believers in Christ. at the time, freedom of religion was not about allowing Islam into America. Never was. And I get it. Maybe it's not the best argument because, again, like I said, people on the left will often make this similar argument about about 2A. But I think we can talk about 2A ages with the times. So at the time 2A was written, it was to defend yourself from government tyranny. So whatever weapons the government had, you should be able to own the same ones. The government has better weapons now, so we should be able to have better weapons now. With the freedom of religion, I'm pretty sure it wasn't about the Quran. I can be pretty sure. I can be pretty sure that freedom of religion was never about allowing Islam into America. You know, more like we won't have a state-sponsored religion like the Church of England, things like that. So I'm not saying that people can't, you know, follow this fake ideology, but I'm saying I don't think that freedom of religion really applied for that.
Is saying have free speech, have discourse, have democracy.
By the way, what does the Quran say about people who say things that disagree with the Quran? You know, I wonder. You know, I think I've seen a lot of heads removed from bodies from people that say things that don't go the way the Quran says they should go.
They don't want it. They're saying that you're threatening to take over and all this stuff. It's not a threat, because the irony is Christians say the same exact thing. Every knee will bow, every tongue confess. I love that song.
The Christians don't say that. There is religious texts that say that, but you don't see Christians in the street saying that. And even Andrew Tate came out and called him out as a LARPer.
Oh, good to hear.
I don't want to give them a hard time right now, but guys, I'm not anyone who's ever insulted me. I'm just a guy, and I'm just here to tell the version of the story as I lived it. I'm just here to tell the truth. That's it. I'm just going to tell you some facts. A few years ago, there was a streamer. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about.
It's Nico.
If I got a girl's number on Fresh and Fit, he tried to do the same thing. Every single thing I did, he copied verbatim. He tried to be me, literally be me. He was obsessed with me. And I thought he just wanted to be famous, and that turned out to be a homosexual obsession.
Yeah, probably true.
He came to Romania with two people who I respect very much, Myron and Fresh, great guys. They managed to convince me to allow him to come. He came there and started acting really fruity and really weird. He started telling me that he had this cup thing that was exposed. He had this big scandal. I've seen her fuck other men, and it's just like that. You've seen it? Yeah, so that's fantastic stuff. So I wanted to break this down, like, because this was imagine seeing the girl you love like get fucked. You love her? Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her. And he asked me what I think about fucking and if it's normal to explore your sexuality and if I've ever tried it. And I said, look, I'm older than you, bro, and I've never tried that. I don't think that's normal. And they started saying, isn't it normal just to try new things? Don't you think it's normal to be curious? How do you know if you're really gay or not unless you've tried to be gay?
What?
I realized he was not. But like when I was like 14, I thought I was gay. I watched gay porn. And when I realized he was coming on to me, I thought the best thing I can do is just not talk to him. Because I don't like this gossip girl stuff. I don't want to be a drama merchant like he is. My brand is sitting online and constantly insulting other people like his is. So I thought, let me just cut him off. He's obsessed with me. He's a bit weird. I don't want to ruin the guy's career. Let me just go his own separate way. Since then, he has mentioned me every single day in every single stream he does. Andrew Tate wore a gambling t-shirt. Andrew Tate drove a car. Andrew Tate drunk coffee.
By the way, it's widely known that Sneeko does not follow the teachings of the Quran either. He does not. He eats meat during Ramadan. He I mean, he's unmarried. He has no children. He doesn't follow literally any of the tenets of the Quran, but he wants all of his young
homosexual rape.
Oh boy.
Suppressed. Guys, I don't like saying it. I feel uncomfortable making this video. I want all of this to go away.
Now, also, you must understand that the Quran also teaches Muslims that they don't need to follow their own rules as long as they are infiltrating or, you know, taking over, all this kind of stuff too. Now,
Dirty's watching. He just doesn't have an account to be in chat.
He's being private,
so you can say hi to him.
In private. I mean, I believe that to be true. People around him say that. This guy's just on the grift. But, you know, let me know. I guess let me know in the comments if you think he should be. I think he should just willingly go to Saudi Arabia or wherever he thinks is so great. You know, if you want to practice Islam, then go to an Islamic country. I wonder why he stays in America. I'm curious.
What the hell are these things?
You know, I don't think the Bible teaches marrying a 6-year-old.
Mobile eyes.
I'm not a Bible scholar, so maybe it's somewhere in the appendices. Maybe
wonder if those like
there's
extend up
there in the appendix somewhere.
You can't touch them.
Yeah, I don't know, but I've never seen any stories about Jesus marrying a 6-year-old and then being a absolute hero by waiting until she was 9 to consummate the marriage. But I don't know. I'm not, you know, a Bible scholar, so I can't say. I don't know. You know.
I hope you feel better, bud.
Very new to me. I've just only been going.
Just running around. I already went out to Defiance, now I'm heading out to Green Springs.
1% of the
I got a couple of quick things to do out there. Oh no! First, I got to go to Walmart, run in and grab some.
Thank you, everyone. I want to continue.
Pete's sick. Your AC not working?
Platform on Earth.
Or were you just outside?
You know, everyone is welcome on Rumble, and I really respect that. And they've been incredibly supportive to creators, including myself. You know, I started out on Rumble long before I ever had any kind of relationship with them because they supported their mission. And now, fast forward years later, I'm sitting on their homepage right now, and it is incredibly humbling, and it is incredible to see all the moves that Rumble's making behind the scenes. Or I guess it's called Rum now, apparently. All the tech moves, all that stuff. I don't understand all of it, but what I know is it helps secure his place for free speech, so I support it. You know, and so I love people. I love that Rumble is here. We're live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, and Friday mornings. So if you ever, you know, if you're enjoying the show and you happen to be seeing me on the homepage right now, I might not always be on the homepage, so make sure you click through, like this says the corner, click through my video.
Just got overheated. That
follow
sucks.
the channel. Also, get involved in the chat. I read the chat, you know, and interact with the chat. And you don't have to do Rumble rants to get read or anything like that. I like to get to know all of my viewers, build a relationship with you. And so that's the best way to do it. Local Wendigo says, I saw a post somewhere that said Psalms is basically King David having a massive panic attack. I haven't stopped thinking about that today. I mean, maybe. I guess I don't know that answer. Yeah, I don't know the answer. You know, that's.
I was supposed to get a fucking link.
Okay, so let's go here. I want to grab this Lance Swig story. Okay. All right, here we go. Do I want to build a snowman? No. Well, actually, it might be kind of cool. It's like 85, 90 degrees or something like that. So it'd probably be fun to build a snowman. You'd probably have to like rapidly build it before it melts. And here in Wisconsin, it's very hot. Most of the country is pretty hot right now. Over in Europe, it's pretty hot right now. So, you know, there's a lot going on. But let's get into this. Tyler Robinson update is a lot. There's a lot to talk about. All right. Well, things are rapidly progressing in the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing in the Charlie Kirk crime that took Charlie Kirk from us. And just based on the limited evidence that we've seen in the preliminary hearing, it's painting a pretty clear picture. Now, the people that have made it their entire brand over the past 10 months or 11 months to try and poke holes in the quote unquote official narrative, bless their hearts. I think there is a very real amount of truth to like quote unquote Fed slop and not believing the official narrative, because we've been told many things on official narratives through the years, and I respect that. But I think if you catch yourself calling everything Fed slop or everything even irrefutable facts, like the 20 camera angles of Tyler Robinson at UVU campus, if you're calling that Fed slop, then I think you're beyond saving. And there are a lot of people that put all of their credibility into this. And the thing is, like, what people would have been smart to do is to explore various ideas in the various, alternative theories. I wouldn't even call them conspiracies, instead of presenting them as fact, because now they're all panicking. Even Candace Owens yesterday finally admitted that, in fact, Charlie Kirk was shot, even though she pushed the exploding microphone, the dumbest theory next to the bee cult and the trapdoors that I've ever seen. She can't even keep her own lies in any kind of order. She tweeted today, well, he was shot. Wait a minute, I thought you said it was an exploding mic pack. They've made, just because there is like a question about a single photograph does not throw out all the evidence, and I think that's not a healthy way to live. We learned in the trial yesterday, a police officer had an intuition after having a conversation with Tyler Robinson in the morning of the Charlie Kirk assassination, that happened to write down his license plate number. That would end up being key in tracking down Robinson later. That's a pretty big piece of information. Some cop thought, well, he's kind of weird, and he wrote down his plate. We saw the video yesterday of him looking extremely suspicious. Not the first couple times we just walked on campus, but when he returned with the weapon, he looked extremely nervous, extremely guilty, looking around a lot, walking with a weird limp because he had a piece of the weapon in his pants pocket. There are a lot of people out there that are like, well, he never could have done that. There are videos, dozens of videos online of people proving that, yes, you can, in fact, put the stock of a Mauser down your pant leg or whatever you need to. I mean, there's Fed slop, and then there's like ignoring obvious facts. This is the thing that, like, where you can go a little bit too far down the rabbit hole. As of right now, the suspect, we found yesterday that he in fact did interact with Charlie Kirk's group before the assassination. Prosecutors unveiled new videos on Tuesday that said trace the movements of Tyler Robinson across the campus at Utah Valley University in the hours surrounding the conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination there last year. Now, let me point something out too about these videos. People are trying to poke holes in it. Well, it's blurry. I don't really know. I see a lot of people like degrading the photos that we all saw played in court yesterday, and then posting it and saying like, this isn't him, even though the actual video is very clear. You can see very obviously it's him. But one thing people who are on the conspiracy like train continue to ignore is what's coming during the actual trial. We can see in the video a very clear outline of Tyler Robinson's cell phone. We know he ate at Chick-fil-A. I don't know how we know he ate there, but I assume he used a credit card because he's not a criminal mastermind. Heck, there is evidence coming that will tie all of these videos together. People are like, well, I don't know if that's him or not in the video. Don't you think that during the trial they're going to reveal the cell phone data that shows he was there that day? He had a cell phone on him every time. Even when he drove by the campus again at 12:30 at night, the night after he committed the crime, he had a cell phone with him. So during the trial, they're going to show all this video. They're going to show all this video, and then they're going to layer in all the cell phone footage that tracks the cell phone directly to UVU at the times that match the timestamps on the videos. They're going to track his cell phone back to the car that drove past UVU at 12:30 p.m. that night. People have no idea how much of an absolute slam dunk case this is, and they're absolutely melting down. They're going to show you the security footage, which we already saw yesterday. We're not going to go through it again today. But they're going to marry that up with his cell phone data. I bet this clown used his credit card at Chick-fil-A. How else would they know he ate at Chick-fil-A? And maybe there's video of it, but they didn't show that yesterday. So I'm guessing he used his credit card. So he was on campus. He used his credit card at Chick-fil-A. They have him on video. They're going to have his cell phone coordinates mapped to his locations at the time in which the video surveillance shows. I mean, Tyler Robinson 100% did this. Now, you want to talk about were other people involved, this, that, and the other thing? I'm willing to have that conversation. But Tyler Robinson did this. Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. Tyler Robinson was at UVU. This is beyond a shadow of a doubt. If I can't get you to believe that, then it's a lost cause. The video, his cell phone data will prove it. That's not even including his multiple confessions. His confession, by the way, people said nothing they've shown definitively shows Tyler, even though they've shown multiple videos that it's very clearly him. By the way, Robert Barnes points out, you know who identified Tyler from the photo stills of the video? His own mother. By the way, his father is going to testify too. His father is going to testify against him. Lance Twiggs, his lover, testified against him. That video is coming out later today. I mean, what more do you need? And here's what Don Jr. had to say on Fox about it.
Not only honor Charlie's legacy, to support Erica, his parents who were there, seated all in the row with us. It was just important to be there. It's a legacy that really needs to be preserved. The impact that Charlie had on so many Americans, on so many youth, is, frankly, generational. It could have been so much more.
Yeah, I got to pick up.
It was important to be there and to see the actual facts laid out.
Little Wi-Fi adapter
so
from
much
Walmart here.
That, amidst the noise and the internet chatter that was laid out, that I had never heard, and makes this case very cut and dry to me.
So I want to ask you about that. Based on I'm listening to all the legal analysts who are in court as well, and they're suggesting the evidence is overwhelming. And how did the
it really is?
The prosecution?
It is overwhelming. Now, you want to believe that he got MK'd? I'll even listen to that. Brothers and sisters in conspiracy world. We know the look, right? We know the similarities in the type that is Thomas Matthew Crooks and Tyler Robinson. They look like they could be brothers. You want to tell me that they got MK'd into doing it? I'll even listen to that. But we have to agree that he's the guy that pulled the trigger. It's very obvious. If we can't agree at even that, then we can't have a conversation. I'll even listen to your theories that he was paid to do it, or that he was influenced to do it, or that he was groomed into doing it, all this kind of stuff. But he's the guy that pulled the trigger. Much like Thomas Matthew Crooks, I have a lot of questions about him. He just decided one day he was going to try to take out Trump. We've learned virtually nothing about him, and it just went away.
We played a good jam earlier.
Although he appeared in a BlackRock video, I'm sure maybe it's just a coincidence. But I'm not like totally, what the government says it's true. I'm not that hardcore about it. But I'm saying if we want to talk about, the similarities between Tyler Robinson and Thomas Matthew Crooks, I would love to do that. But Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. There's no doubt about it.
This case sound to you in court?
Very strong, and the defense sounded very weak. The defense's only real tactic was seemingly to either stall or try to not admit essentially any evidence whatsoever, because I guess it would be too damning to their client. It was truly crazy. But you see the video. This is someone who lived 4.5 hours south, who importantly, and most people didn't know this, was not a student at Utah Valley University. He came up 4.5 hours away, very distinctly. I guess it was a Dodge Challenger in a car with very distinct rims. So they're able to identify the vehicle. They see him coming in early. He interacts with some Turning Point people, apparently asking them, what was happening here, who were the speakers, what was the timing, whatever that may have been, it seems. He then leaves, but he's wearing shorts and a T-shirt. He comes back wearing long pants with a limp that magically somehow developed. Is seen on video going up to this rooftop, which was the perfect vantage point to make, this shot, then jumps off the building carrying.
All of this is captured on video, by the way. All of this is back. All of this is backed by video. And again, we'll see the cell phone data. that will map this. Now, so the grift class is absolutely melting. Now, I don't know who this Baron Coleman guy is, but, and I'm pretty sure the community notes system on X is actually co-opted by the goofball right, I guess I would say, you know, the like Candace Owens people, you know, this guy remains verified and has done, like, he's purposely like degraded photos to try and, you know, stick on this narrative. Candace Owens having a full-blown meltdown on Instagram today. The preliminary hearing completely broke her. Now she's crying out for attention, pretending that Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring are going to assassinate her. She can't stand the truth is coming out. She can't handle the attention not being on her. You know, everybody wake up. What does she put out here? I think she's having a mental breakdown. Ben Shapiro just confessed it on a show while being transported to the hospital, bleeding out. I mean, like, she's just like schizo posting on Instagram. I want to be very clear on my followers. If anything ever happens to me, I want Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring and their Israeli connections explored thoroughly. Go all the way, Max! What does that mean? That seems like a call potentially for, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what going max is. Is it similar to 86ing? I don't know. Whatever happened to that elite hit squad? Didn't she say there was an elite hit squad of French assassins that were coming after her? Yeah, how that ever happened? Oh, by the way, Candace Owens has dropped her exploding microphone theory. Here's another question, guys. It took a while for the video of Charlie being shocked to go viral. Wait, what happened to the exploding mic? These people can't even keep their own lies in order. According to Candace Owens, there is a man and a woman, possibly over 6'3", walking around UVU on September 10th, 2025, who passed an individual who stands a minimum of 6'2" and is not Tyler Robinson. I mean, what are we talking about here? Here's Tyler Robinson slunk down. I mean, they're finding every grainy photograph they possibly can. There are people that are presenting the DNA evidence knowingly incorrect. Let me just bring up this guy. I mean, the meltdown is so incredible to watch right now. Here's Baron Coleman again. No community note, because community notes is completely co-opted. 89 to 95% of the DNA on the screwdriver and towel came from Lance Twiggs. That's incorrect. It came from Tyler Robinson. How do I know that? Because they said it.
You testified about Exhibits 7 and 8, that they both had mixtures.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yes, items 7 and 8. In your testing,
so apparently there's an issue with the batteries on these outdoor cameras. They're not charging at all for some reason. So
you stated, I want to make sure
I'm swapping them out, and then I got to give them.
You stated, I believe, that the minor sample
Wi-Fi adapter
contributor was less than 20%, and that it was actually 5%. The ratio was 5% to 95%.
So I got to run in when I get there, but I'll leave everything going.
Does that mean the 5% was from Twigs, and the 95%, that 95% is assumed from the defendant, Robinson?
When I calculate the statistic, Twigs' DNA profile aligned with the 5% contributor, and Mr. Robinson's DNA profile aligned better with the 95% contributor.
Oops. Literal lie. 12,000 likes, 350,000 views. I mean, the Cope and Steve, this Trisha Hope, who's a national delegate, the DNA witness yesterday testified the defense absolutely destroyed the DNA evidence. Did that sound like they destroyed it to you? No. I mean, it is.
Drew Hernandez.
The fact that Candace Owens is telling. I mean, I do not believe her vacation this week was a coincidence. I mean, I know viewership is down the week after the 4th of July, this, that, and the other thing. Some creators choose to take the week off. I don't. I'm here. And stay with all of you. And by the way, wherever you're watching, please follow the channel. Leave a like on the video, follow the channel. I would be greatly appreciative. It's hard to find people, and I don't always stream at the scheduled 2 p.m. Eastern time slot. So following or downloading the app, following, and creating this following the channel would be very helpful. But Candace Owens has completely lost her mind, and all these people have left is just to simply stare at a fact, call it a lie, and then they never actually have to back up anything. Israel, Egypt, France, U.S. military, Brian Harpole, Cabot Williams, Erica Kirk, TPUSA employees, Cash Patel, the FBI, ATF, UVU Police, Washington County Police, Utah State Law Enforcement, the judge, a medical examiner, Tyler Robinson's defense, and now today, Ben Shapiro, all evidently Tyler Robinson's own mother, who recognized him from the stills of the video, despite Candace's insistence that the man in the video couldn't possibly be Tyler Robinson. I mean, at some point, it's going to be brutal. And then this is coming today. This is going to be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. All right, Sandra, let's bring in Fox News contributors and criminal defense attorneys Don Rotuno and Josh Rutter. Josh, let's begin with you because preliminary hearings, Jonathan Fahey and I were talking about this. They usually last a couple of hours.
Yeah.
This is going to go 5 days. What do you make of what we've been hearing so far?
I think it's important. I think they're doing it because they want to make sure like everyone is on board. Like there can be no doubt. You know, if they replay the recording of Lance Twiggs, it's going to be everything.
I don't understand it.
I don't know if we're going to get that or if we're just going to get a transcript of it. I suspect we won't see the actual video of it, but I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
We will at the trial, but I don't know about during the prelim.
Right. Even murder prelims, complicated murder prelims, can last a couple of days, an afternoon. Maybe they bleed over into the next day if they're especially complicated. The fact that this is taking 5 days, and by the way, with the pace that this is going, I think we're going to be lucky if this gets done by Friday because it has been an absolute slog. Part of that is
because they're objecting to everything.
Part of that is the amount of information that the prosecution has, the exhibits that they want admitted. But a lot of that lands at the feet of the defense because they have been objecting to nearly every piece of evidence brought into this case with objections that they've already made in the past and have been ruled on. So it's becoming a very laborious task to get this evidence in, but it is happening. It is revealing. We're seeing a lot of new information we haven't heard about before, and I think it's all making for a very convincing case for the prosecution.
Okay.
Donna, what struck you?
I was wondering what was up with that.
So today we're anticipating this reporting of Lance Twiggs, who's going to tell investigators, presumably what he knew at the time of this murder, what he knew before this murder, the communication.
Lance Twiggs is going to completely sell him out. I believe Lance Twiggs was involved in the planning of this. I can't prove that, but that's what I believe. And we now know he got some level of qualified immunity, and he's almost certainly going to sell Tyler Robinson out completely. I would not be surprised if he's suddenly not trans anymore either. I mean, it will be, I think, like many in my chat might think, he's going to plead guilty after today. He's going to plead guilty today, and we're not going to get a jury trial. That's why I think it's going to be 5 days long. I think his defense team's only goal during this has been to try and get the death penalty off the table. Because remember, Tyler Robinson has not entered a plea yet. So I think he will plead guilty in exchange to try and get the death penalty off the table. That doesn't mean they will do it.
That's what you're using now.
But I believe that's the only play.
Actually, no, yeah,
the evidence is so overwhelming. We'll have to see.
Not boost, but whatever the other one is.
Stay tuned. Make sure you're following the channel because the second we get Lance Twiggs' video, we'll be broadcasting that live, of course, too. Hope you enjoyed this segment. We'll see you in the next one. Yeah, the quartering loves
your house.
Slop. I mean, if you're calling irrefutable video evidence Fed slop, then I don't have anything for you. I can't fix that level of stupid. You want to talk about, hey, maybe there's people who are, involved in it that I don't know about, or that he was groomed into it, or MK Ultra this. You want to talk about that stuff? Sure. By the way, shout out SMyMFSNC. I stole that from you in chat. I read the chat even while I'm doing live, so your participation in the chat helps make the videos better, and I'm always so thankful for everyone that's in the chat. I know I make a fool of myself many times, but a lot of times you live correct me when I'm recording segments, and it's extremely helpful. By the way, if you're watching now live on Rumble, almost 7,500 people. I'm live Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. Please do click through the channel and click follow. Click the green follow button below the video. Click on the video on the homepage. Click the green follow button down below. It is. I would love to see you. You can't always count on being on the homepage, so I would love to see you when we're not. And a huge shout out to the Kids Guide too, by the way. All right, parents, I know the 4th of July is come and gone, but here's something we're thinking about. The fireworks are over, the cookouts are finished, the flags will be slowly coming down, but America's story is still worth teaching.
Oh, yeah, I got a nice 250 flag. I'll show you at the house when I get back.
Sacrifices that built this country. That's why I wanted to tell you about a free guide called The Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday. It takes kids back to the birth of our nation, introducing them to the founding fathers, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and the incredible courage it took to fight for the freedoms we enjoy today. Instead of dry history lessons, it's filled with engaging stories, colorful illustrations, and fascinating facts that make learning about America exciting and memorable. If you want your kids to understand, the 4th of July is about more than the fireworks, and it's about freedom, responsibility, and the incredible story of our nation's founding. It's a great place to start, and the best part is you can get the Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday completely free with this special offer. Just cover $2 for shipping and processing. Head on over to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com and claim your free guide today. The celebration may be over, but America's story is still being written. Make sure the next generation knows how it began. Let's see here. We've got this race war story too, which is actually wild. By the way, if you're enjoying the show, you can support the show by picking up some of our coffee. We roast our own stuff. We're available exclusively on Amazon as well as on coffeebrandcoffee.com. If you go to buy CBC, that's buy Charlie Bravo Charlie .com, it'll take you directly to our Amazon store, and there you can pick up some of our delicious blueberry. We have Colombian roast, Ethiopian, ultralight roast, a dark roast, a super dark roast, hot butter rum, butterscotch toffee. We have 100% pure Kona, which very few people have out there. Blackberry cream. We have a double calf.
Let's switch it over to different audio.
And from this Christian fascism movement.
We will not wait to abolish ICE and pass Medicare for all.
Rapid fire. Do you support universal child care?
Yes.
Free school meals?
Yes.
Guaranteed paid leave?
Yes.
Abolishing ICE?
Yes.
Legalizing cannabis?
Yes.
A free Palestine?
Yes.
Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution.
Yeah, we're coming
to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. The new Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Sean Hannity Show. I am Texas Governor Greg Abbott, your guest host today. You can find me on X at GregAbbott_TX, and also at GovHotWheels_TX. That Governor Hot Wheels, that's something Sean Hannity talked about a lot on this radio show as well as on TV, where Jasmine Crockett, the Congresswoman from Texas, in a speech in Los Angeles, called me Governor Hot Wheels. And you know what? I thought, I like that so much, I'm gonna own that. And it's my handle on X, as well as I got T-shirts, we got hats, we got bumper stickers of Governor Hot Wheels, and we are going to use that call signal all the way to Election Day. Listen, some of you may have a question later on in the course of the show. I want you to know that our call-in number is 1-800-941-SEAN. That's 1-800-941-7326. Listen, if you folks are like me, you are still amazed by the magnificent celebration of our 250th birthday. We all knew that President Trump would do it bigger, bolder, and better. But even Trump exceeded expectations. The massive ships, the air shows, the patriotic displays. It makes me proud to be an American. No country can match our spirit, our military, our exceptionalism. It is still stunning that 13 separate colonies could come together and set a course that would become the most powerful country in the history of the world. But listen to this. Equally stunning is that while our American patriotism was on full display, there is also a growing undercurrent in our country of creeping socialism. A socialistic brand of governance that would make our founders roll over in their graves. They did not declare dependence on government. They didn't declare that more taxes were the solution to all problems. They did not declare that more government was needed. Instead, they declared independence. They declared that every American will have the freedom to chart their own course, unhindered by an oversized and oppressive government. And they wrapped that freedom under the blanket of the rule of law. The signers of the Declaration of Independence would be shocked that the inheritors of the freedom they fought for are now pushing a socialistic agenda on the United States of America. The hard push by the Democrats to elect socialists has been well documented by Sean Hannity. From Bernie to AOC to Mandami to his acolytes in New York City. Now, socialists are winning in Colorado and on balance across the country. Let me be clear. The advance of socialism won't stop in New York, Colorado, or California. It will threaten cities and states across the country. We even see it in Democrat candidates in Texas, some of whom identify themselves as socialists. Others don't adopt the name, but embrace the policies. Like James Tallarico. Tallarico, as well as a lot of Democrats. Cisgender Jimmy Tallarico has voted for higher taxes, boys and girls sports, open borders, gender mutilization of children. And get this, Jimmy Tallarico is for lab-grown meat. That means he wants meat grown in laboratories in a state that ranks #1 in America for the cattle industry. Jimmy Tallarico also supports defunding the police, sanctuary city policies, and Green New Deal policies in the energy state of Texas. Tallarico voted against voter ID laws and stricter election laws, all of which I signed. He also voted against keeping men out of girls' bathrooms. How insane is that? And like other Democrat socialists, Tallarico wants to eliminate customs and immigration enforcement, eliminate prisons. You know what Tallarico is preaching, it may work in California or New York, but in Texas, Tallarico is toast. Tallarico, like a lot of Texas Democrats, has consistently voted to raise taxes. Raising taxes is a key pillar of the socialist agenda. You know, Democrats say that they want to make life more affordable, but they also say they want to give things away for free and raise taxes to pay for it. They either don't know or they don't want you to know that tax hikes and Democrat regulations are leading the unaffordability crisis that we are facing in America today. Look at just a few examples. On average, a gallon of gas costs $2 less in Texas than in California. That's the cost of California taxes and regulations. A gallon of milk costs
about $1 less in Texas than California. A dozen of eggs cost about 30% less in Texas than California. Why? Because of cage-free range regulations in California. A loaf of bread costs about 25% less in Texas than California. And listen, the list goes on. On average, these everyday expenses cost about 25% more in California than in Texas. Why? That is what Democrat socialist policies do. They jack up the cost of living. In Texas, we charted a conservative path to protect against Democrat socialist policies. We constitutionally banned income taxes, wealth taxes, capital gains taxes, financial transactions taxes. And despite all of these taxes that we have banned, Texas had the biggest budget surplus in America. So what did we do with that surplus? We plowed it into property tax cuts. We increased the value of your home that is exempt from school district property taxes from $15,000 to $140,000. And in our next legislative session, we will eliminate the school district property tax on homesteads and slash property tax appraisals. These are just some of the reasons why Texas is #1 for the most new jobs. What we've done in Texas is to build a firewall from the chaos of insane Democrat policies. Neither Jimmy Tallarico nor any Democrat on the ticket will burn down that firewall. In Texas, we believe in law and order. We banned cities from defunding the police. We stopped violent protesters from ransacking our campuses. To safeguard our state, we banned foreign adversaries from buying land in Texas. I designated the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE as foreign terrorist organizations and banned Muslim-only events in Texas. We shut down that Epic City compound that tried to create a Muslim-only community. And when Epic City tried to rebrand itself as the Meadow, we shut that down also. Texas is the only state in American history to build our own border wall, put up buoys, and deploy the National Guard to stop illegal immigration into our state. In Texas, we safeguard elections, and we will save America with the toughest voter ID laws and have only U.S. citizens vote in our elections. The list goes on, but I can guarantee you this. We're going to keep Texas safe, and no one can talk about that more and better than our next guest, the one and only Tom Homan, coming up right after this.
The radio show the mainstream media loves to hate. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
My name is Preston James. I've been a stock and options trader for 23 years. I used to be an active swing trader, but that all changed once I discovered my Money Press weekly paycheck method. These days, I'm a passive trader, hauling in more cash while being able to sleep at night than I ever dreamed possible. I'm passionate about the market, and I like to keep it simple. My methods are changing thousands of lives, and I'm confident it can change yours. But let the proof do the talking. By going to accountproof.com, that's accountproof.com, you'll see a 7-minute video revealing how my Money Press method grew a $54,000 account to $174,000 in less than 9 months. That works out to 5.8% per week. You'll see the proof right inside my real brokerage account. This isn't about overnight riches, but once you discover this for yourself, you can start on this same path overnight. You're 7 minutes away from changing everything you thought you knew about trading and investing. Go to accountproof.com to get started. That's accountproof.com.
In a world drowning in AI everything, where your news feeds and shows get faked and filtered, there's still one place showing real stories, real moments, live. Reels Plus, home to America's #1 cable entertainment program, On Patrol Live, capturing police in real time across the U.S., plus thousands of hours of true crime, policing, and celebrity stories. So escape the fake and choose what's real. Subscribe now for just $4.99 per month and get a free 7-day trial at reelsplus.com. That's Reels with a Z, or anywhere you get your streaming apps. We all make promises to ourselves to live healthier, eat better, move more, drink smarter. With Aquasana water filters, drinking smarter is effortless. Aquasana turns every tap in your home into a source of cleaner, healthier, better tasting water without all the plastic bottles. Their filters reduce chlorine, PFAS, microplastics, and other unwanted impurities while keeping the essential minerals your body needs, like potassium and calcium. You'll notice the difference right away in every sip, every meal, even every shower. From washing produce to brewing coffee to winding down at night, Aquasana helps protect your home and your family from harmful contaminants in your water. Because healthy living starts with healthy water. So make the switch. It's better for you, your family, and the planet. Visit Aquasana.com and use promo code SXM to get up to 50% off select systems. That's AQUASANA.com. Promo code SXM. Aquasana. Better water, better living.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
This is Dr. Dino Prado, founder of Invita Medical Centers. Every day, patients lose their lives, not just to cancer, but to the delays in the system. The latest treatments often take decades to reach the people who need them the most. At Invita, we refuse to wait. Our destination center brings the best technologies from around the world with personalized care to help our patients, because care delayed is care denied. Every patient deserves the right to fight. Invita Medical Centers, we're here for you. ENVITA.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-234-7799. That's 800-234-7799. Once again, that's 800-234-7799.
Fed up with stubborn earwax? Get Wax RX from Dr. Easy. Dr. Easy professional ear washers have been used over 40 million times by medical professionals. Now you can get the same results at home with Wax RX, the personal ear wash system. Just like our professional ear washers, Wax RX flushes away stubborn earwax without a trip to the doctor. Don't be fooled by store brands and cheap knockoffs. Pull into a Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart right now and get the original doctor-invented Wax RX in the ear care aisle.
This is Sirius XM Patriot, Channel 125.
Hey, welcome back to the Sean Hannity Show. I am Texas Governor Greg Abbott, and I'm your guest host today. You can find me online at GregAbbott_TX. But listen, right now, we got a person who I think is a great American and a good friend of mine. You know, in the United States, the rule of law is essential to our country, essential to who we are as a nation. And we got to have people who are going to step up and enforce those laws. And in Tom Homan, we have that person. He's a long-time public servant, a long-time person who's been working on to secure our border, a person that obviously is governor of the state of Texas. I have worked with a whole lot. Tom, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Governor.
Proud to have you here. Listen, let's start out with this. You know, as well as anybody, the chaos created by the Biden administration with their open border policies, allowing thousands of people coming across our border every single day. How was it that President Trump and you were able to go in there and so swiftly close the border and restore normalcy to the immigration process, normalcy to border control? What did you guys do to get it down to where it is now?
We enforce the law. I mean, you said it right there in your monologue that it's all about enforcing the law, and the last administration did it. I mean, it's clear in federal statute when you arrive to our border and to enter illegally without proper documentation, the law says you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, you shall. So what President Trump did, he enforced law where no one's being released in this country. There's no more catch and release. You're either going to be immediately returned or you're going to be put in detention and have a hearing. And so we just locked the border up. We chose to enforce law and not ignore it. And that's the last administration. They paroled millions of people in this country. And misuse of parole statute, which I think in my opinion, they release millions of people in this country illegally because the parole statute is clear too, and who you can parole, who you can't. So the Democratic administration, they ignore the law. Trump administration is enforcing the law.
You know, one thing you said, the Biden administration released millions of people across our entire country. But it seems like it'd be an extraordinarily difficult task to locate and find those millions of people and to deport them. How tough is that task?
All right. It's tough. You look for people that don't want to be found. So, look at the numbers right now. The first year under President Trump, 2025, we had a record amount of arrests and removals, the highest in history of life. Right now, we're on a pathway to beat that for the second year. So, we're out there every day. I mean, I just yesterday I got numbers that the last 4 days, almost 4.5 days, because the day's cut in half, but in less than 5 days, ICE has arrested over 10,000 people in the last days.
That's great.
The record for the agencies for all the doing. Now, I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that, but we got to do more. So, we brought on 10,000 new agents. About 8,000 are already on board. We got 2,000 more to go in the academy. That was all held up, and the DHS was shut down by the Democrats. But once we get these agents on board, we expect even more numbers. So, now the government's open, ICE is funded, we got these new resources coming on board. We're going to shatter last year's numbers, I believe.
Sounds like Tom Homan.
Great job.
Greg Abbott is doing Hannity's show, I guess.
I have a big concern that I'm sure is shared by a lot of people in the United States, and that is, listen, we know that you and President Trump are doing more than anybody ever has in the history of the country to secure the border, as well as to bring down illegal border crossings to what may be an all-time record low. Here's my concern and question, and that is, what's going to happen after the Trump administration? How enduring are going to be the policies that you guys have put in place? Once President Trump is gone, is Texas going to have to go back to what we were dealing with under the Biden administration? Give us a feel for what the future is going to look like and how enduring the border security plans you're putting in place is going to be.
Well, you're exactly right. Elections matter. And what President Trump created the most secure border in the history of this nation. He did it through executive orders and enforcing the law. There's nothing to stop the next administration if it's an unfriendly administration to write new executive orders and they ignore the law they can do under the Biden administration. That's why it's imperative for Congress to put these changes in the law. We're going to continue to build a border wall. By the end of next year, we'll have every mile border wall in the ground. So while we have these 4 years, where we got 2.5 years left, we need to build the infrastructure that's going in the systems, and that's going to last us for decades. That's what we're doing. We're going to put those border barriers up. We're creating a new immigration court system where we're moving to identifying and putting in place efficiency for quicker hearings. But you're right. I mean, what scares me the most is a Democratic administration committed undue law this through executive order. That's why Congress needs to step up and make sure this is solidified in law. And I don't think they want to do it. I don't have a lot of confidence that the Congress will get that done. So who knows? I mean, you stood up during the Biden administration, one of the few governors that stood up and not only secured the Texas border, but by doing so, you also protected the entire country, because you and I both know many of these illegal aliens don't stay in Texas. They move on all throughout the nation. So what you did may have to be done again. I'm hoping not, but I think American people have got to be you're a little comfortable that that you're over there and that you wouldn't hesitate to do what you did before, but you shouldn't have to. It should be the federal government's responsibility. So all your listeners on the show right now should call your senator, call your congressman, and tell them to pass strong immigration enforcement laws so we don't have to the next person come in undone and do our success.
Well, one thing, Tom, that you guys are doing that you talked about that's essential for the future of Texas, which has a border of 1,250 miles with Mexico, is putting up that border wall, as well as putting the border buoys into the Rio Grande River, hundreds of miles of it, that will stop people from crossing the border illegally. And so, Tom, I just can't thank you enough for everything you've done. You are truly a hero of mine to ensure the security of our country. And I thank you for what you're doing. And listen, we're going to take a quick break. And I want you to know, coming up after the break,
waiting for that one to reconnect. Let me swap these other batteries
to talk about what's going on. Thank you very much, Tom.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331. 800-848-1331.
USA. USA. Steven Singer, the I Hate Steven Singer guy, just released a brand new limited edition USA 24-karat gold dipped rose to celebrate America 250. It's a red, white, and blue rose with a star-spangled interior. The best part? A portion of the proceeds from each rose sold supports U.S. veterans in need. Steven's famous roses are a real rose, dipped and preserved in pure 24-karat gold, guaranteed to last a lifetime. Get this new one-of-a-kind patriotic rose while helping U.S. vets. The first batch sold out within 24 hours. Hurry to IHateStevenSinger.com to pre-order your USA rose with special patriotic gift box. Or visit Steven Singer Jewelers at the other corner of 8th and Walnut in Philly, or in the Village at Newtown next to the Capitol Grill in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. That's IHateStevenSinger.com.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value for your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Parents, America's big birthday is coming up, and your kids want an invite to the party. Let them join the fun with the Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday, a free guide that helps kids celebrate the epic story of our nation's birth. Send your kids back in time to see our great founding fathers signing the Declaration and get them ready for this year's massive celebration. Get the Kids Guide to America's 250th birthday for free at freeusabook.com. That's freeusabook.com.
Larry Elder here. For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea, that we were meant to live free. Free to work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But if everyday aches and pains are slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from pain. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free, research-based formula designed to help your body fight inflammation, one of the root causes of pain. It's not a quick fix or a temporary mask. It works from the inside out at the source. Relief Factor was created so people could get back to living life on their terms, walking, working, exercising, and enjoying the moments that matter. This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take a stand for your own freedom. To commemorate, we're offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76, so you can declare your independence from pain and take your control. Your 1776 3-week quick start is ready for you. Visit relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com, or call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800-4-RELIEF. Most people think a mattress is just another piece of furniture. But when you're not sleeping well, it affects everything. Your health, your focus, even what kind of day you're going to have. That's why so many people are switching to GhostBed. GhostBed mattresses are engineered for cooling, support, recovery, and real sleep quality. Because your body should be recovering while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. So if you're waking up stiff, tossing and turning, sleeping hot, or even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, maybe that's not aging. Maybe it's your mattress. Hot sleepers especially love GhostBed's cooling technology because sleeping cooler means fewer wake-ups and better mornings. And with GhostBed's 101-night sleep trial, you can try it at home and feel the difference for yourself. Right now, GhostBed is offering their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/patriot and use promo code Patriot. That's ghostbed.com/patriot, promo code Patriot.
Enter Wilco. Freedom means you can chart your own course, cut your own path, live your own life. You can rise and fall on your own merits without the government being intertwined in every single personal decision that you make. That's what it means to be free, and that's what it means to be an American on the 250th birthday of this nation. The Wilco Majority, weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old. Mark Levin.
The first time in the history of mankind, a clean slate, a nation was born. During the Revolutionary period, the most important philosopher was John Locke. John Locke talked about sovereignty, the sovereignty of the individual, the consent of the governed, representative government. Almost got him killed. After all, he lived under a monarchy.
The Mark Levin Show, weekdays starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old. This is SiriusXM Patriot, channel 125. Standing up for what's right with America. We're back on the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, this comes from Justice Alito, who brought this up during the arguments. This is his separate dissent. He said the court's interpretation also has national security implications. Suppose that a person's only connection to this country is that he was born here to a mother who was present just long enough to give birth and then quickly return to her native country. Suppose that country is a strategic adversary or enemy of the United States. Suppose the child never visited the United States while growing up and was inculcated with hatred of this country. According to this court now, that person is a citizen of the United States.
So that was Shannon Brame with Fox News talking about what Justice Alito wrote in the birthright citizenship case before the United States Supreme Court. But listen, there were so many consequential Supreme Court decisions that were handed down just in the past few weeks. That was one of them. There was another one that came out that affects Texas as well as a whole lot of other states, and that was the Supreme Court decision. All right, the states were well within their authority to ban boys and girls sports. Listen, this is just common sense, and of course it should have been upheld by the United States Supreme Court. But it really is amazing when you think about it, about how the leftists talk about boys double check it here. Sports. They can even identify what a boy is or what a girl is, and so what we take solace in is hello.
Yeah, I'm heading back now. What's up?
That's now the law of the land of the state of Texas. But there's something else. This now
okay.
Land that is very problematic, and that was that decision that Shannon Brame was talking about.
All right.
The birthright citizenship case, and the point Shannon Brame made is that basically the United States Supreme Court dropped a massive national security issue into the lap of America. And joining with us right now to talk about that is the great senator from the great state of Texas, Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I just got back in the car. I was just doing some tweaking with the cameras here, and I'm ready to go. I was fucking. All right. Where are you going to be? All right. All right, dude. See you in a bit. Later. Bye. For myself and a number of other members of Congress urging the Supreme Court to uphold President Trump's order, but unfortunately that only garnered 4 votes at the court and not 5. So what is the state of the law? Let me break it into 2 pieces. Number 1 is a policy matter. Number 2 is a legal matter. As a policy matter, birthright citizenship makes no sense. It is a foolish policy. The idea that illegal immigrants, simply if they cross over to this country and have a child, that child automatically becomes a U.S. citizen, that is a policy that predictably encourages and incentivizes illegal immigration. We need to change that policy. It also has the really bizarre and perverse incentive for something that you just referenced there, Governor, called birth tourism, where you see pregnant women in their 8th and 9th month of pregnancy come to the United States, many from China, land on U.S. soil and have a baby just so that baby can be a U.S. citizen. That is a foolish policy. It needs to change. President Trump tried to change it via executive order. There was a long-standing debate. This is a debate that goes back decades and longer. Whether birthright citizenship had to be changed through a constitutional amendment, or whether it could be changed through a statute passed by Congress. There were legal scholars on both sides of that question. President Trump pushed the issue even further and tried to do it with an executive order. The constitutional question is the 14th Amendment provides that all persons born in the United States, and here's the key phrase, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States. Now, the question is, what does "are subject to the jurisdiction thereof" mean? What I argue, what President Trump argued, what the 4 dissenters argued is that you are an illegal immigrant who came here against the laws. You are not here permissibly, you're not here legally, and therefore you are not accorded citizenship. The Supreme Court rejected that position and said that the children of illegals born here are U.S. citizens as a matter of law.
So, going back, with regard to one of the issues you brought up, and that's the clause saying subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Is that something that the United States Congress can pass a law saying what that actually means and to define?
No, I'm going to Reds from here. Then we're meeting with the current owners for another negotiation on the terms of the purchase agreement.
Especially from people coming from our foreign adversaries.
So what Congress could definitely do, and for that matter, what the administration definitely could do, is say that any women who are pregnant or visibly pregnant shall not be granted a tourist visa or any other visa. And that, I think, would make an awful lot of sense for the administration to do. Look, if it's someone coming before there's any indication they're pregnant, that's one thing. But if someone is 7, 8, 9 months pregnant and visibly pregnant, I think the administration ought to say we will not grant a tourist visa or visitor visa or any other visa to anyone who is pregnant. That makes sense, and there's no legal impediment to doing that. What the court resolved is, if they're here, and to be clear, the vast majority of these instances occur with illegal immigrants, and illegal immigrants tend to fall in 2 categories. Number 1, those who cross illegally, the 12 million plus illegals that cross the border during the open borders of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Those illegals have babies, and under this ruling, those babies are U.S. citizens. The second category of illegals are people who come here legally,
but then overstay their visa. And that's the second group. And look, if they overstay their visa a long, long time, you obviously cannot predict when someone may become pregnant in the future. But at least for women who are visibly pregnant, I think it would make a lot of sense to say we're not granting visitor visas if there is a reasonable likelihood you will have a child in the United States.
I appreciate it.
Very helpful. Listen, I want to try to cover two more topics real quick. Let me start out first by calling for cut 104. We'll talk about that issue very briefly and then get to another.
The terms that we're using here during our reporting, biological male, biological female, the High Court put those terms in quotations in their decision, in their dissent. But just so you know, we're using those terms from the decision itself.
Here was the crux of the issue. It was whether or not somebody who was assigned the male gender at birth would be allowed to play in a traditionally so-called girls' sports.
This is just crazy. We have the liberal media that still cannot bring themselves to use the basic descriptions of male and female or boy and girl, the hand-wringing over it. But the bottom line is the Supreme Court obviously did the right thing by saying that the states can ban boys and girls sports. But that part has been answered. There's a question I have that I don't know if they answered or not, but you surely would, and that is, does the Supreme Court decision also apply to states that have not yet banned boys and girls sports? Would it apply to states where they allow boys and girls sports?
So it does not, and that was not a question the court addressed. What the court addressed in this case was two different lawsuits, one out of West Virginia, one out of Idaho. Both Idaho and West Virginia passed laws very similar to the law Texas has passed that you signed into law, that protects girls' sports, protects women's sports, and says boys can't compete in girls' sports, men can't compete in women's sports. That is basic common sense. And by the way, the overwhelming majority of Americans agree with it. It is only the loopy left, which sadly is virtually the entirety of elected Democrats today, who can't figure out what is a woman. They can't figure out the big differences between boys and girls. In this case, plaintiffs sued West Virginia and Idaho and argued that protecting women's sports, protecting girls' sports was unconstitutional. 6-3, the Supreme Court rejected that argument, and that the court and that states have the power to protect girls' sports and women's sports. The court concluded, number one, the Constitution does not prohibit it. Nothing in the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause prohibits protecting girls' sports and women's sports. That's a great and really important ruling. It secondly concluded nothing in the federal civil rights laws and Title IX prohibit protecting girls' sports and women's sports. That's a really important ruling as well. What the court did not address is the wackadoodle blue states like California that have passed laws or that have governors like Gavin Newsom who want girls to have to compete against boys, who want women to have to compete against men. It is wildly unfair, and the court said nothing about those states.
Well, that's very, very, very helpful, but also very troubling. Sounds like we still have some more work to get done. Well, let me ask you one last question that you would be as familiar with as anybody else in the country, and that is a race for the United States Senate in the state of Texas. As one contextual background point, the Democrat candidate, Jimmy Tallarico, he's in favor of boys and girls sports. He's in favor of sex change surgeries for minors. Do you think that Jimmy Tallarico really has a chance to win the race for the United States Senate in the state of Texas?
So, look, unfortunately, I do think he has a chance. I think this is a real race. I think it's going to be close. I think we're going to win. I think we're going to keep Texas red. But the polling right now shows this as a 1 or 2 point race. And Tallarico, on the record, the guy is radical. He is extreme. He has said things like God is non-binary. He said there's 6 different genders. He has run his campaign as a vegan campaign because meat is destroying the world. You know, as you know well, Governor, in Texas, we like our damn barbecue. The guy is against oil and gas. This is a guy who has been repeatedly in favor of boys and girls sports, men and women's sports. He's also in favor of sterilizing and mutilating children to transform surgically boys into girls and vice versa. That's just wrong. That's child abuse. And yet he is emphatically in favor of that. He has discussed something, as Loopy is saying, he thinks it is an urgent priority that we provide abortions to people who are transgender.
That's just crazy.
Nutty. That's just nutty. That's where he is. So why do I think this is a real race? Number one, because this guy is also charming. He is affable. He sounds like a preacher. And I worry about the voters who may not be paying close attention to the issues, who just turn on the TV and say, oh, he seems like a nice young man. And the Republican nominee, Ken Paxton, you and I both know him very well. Ken is a friend. Ken succeeded you as Attorney General. I think Ken, on the merits, has had a very strong conservative record as a state Attorney General. I'm supporting Ken. I think he's going to win. But it's going to be a real fight, and there have been a bunch of attack ads run against Paxton. And so, look, I would urge folks, we need to make sure, number one, that folks contribute money to this race. But number two, that we show up and vote, because if conservatives and even just ordinary common sense Texans stay home, God forbid we could wake up the day after Election Day and discover suddenly that this Tallarico extreme leftist has just been elected in Texas. That would be a disaster.
Well, you articulated the campaign strategy well. I personally think Tallarico is going to be very beatable once Texans get to know who he really is, and I think that you outlined the pathway to make sure that we keep Texas red after this next election. Well, listen, Senator, I know you're very, very busy. I cannot thank you enough for coming on the Sean Hannity Show. God bless you, and God bless you for everything you're doing for the great state of Texas and for the United States of America. We're going to take a real quick break.
Exposing, uncovering, unpacking the lies of the left every day. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
See website for details. BillsApp.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
You should do what my friend from work did. She went to BillsHappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
BillsHappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Visit aquablation.com. Aquablation.com. That's aquablation.com. Visit aquablation.com. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, urinary symptoms, mild pain, infection, or less frequently, urethral or rectal injury, or ejaculatory dysfunction. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-651-5982 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-651-5982. That's 800-651-5982. What do you have to lose? Call 800-651-5982. Again, 800-651-5982.
This is going to sound strange. You're not yourself. It's not just stress. It's not even just in your head. There's a physical reason you feel stuck. And we're seeing the same patterns in dogs, even horses, because this isn't about your thoughts. It's about your nervous system. I'm Mark Fox. I was a space shuttle chief engineer. You're not broken. That's why I wrote Go Find Joy. It became an Amazon bestseller in 3 different categories. Get it free at gofindjoy.com.
This is Dr. Dino Prado, founder of inDO Medical Centers. Every day, patients lose their lives, not just to cancer, but to the delays in the system. The latest treatments often take decades to reach the people who need them the most. At inVita, we refuse to wait. Our destination center brings the best technologies from around the world with personalized care to help our patients. Because care delayed is care denied. Every patient deserves the right to fight. inVita Medical Centers, we're here for you. ENVITA.com.
David Webb, our Constitution is the longest running Constitution in the history of the world. There is no reason we can't exceed that record and keep going. America 250 is a promise of a better future because of an evolution of a great nation to where we are today.
The David Webb Show, weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot.
Freedom never gets old.
Mike Slater. One of my favorite descriptions of an American comes from the Frenchman, de Tocqueville, in Democracy in America, 1831. He said, while the Europeans build these fancy boats, and they have their veteran mariners, the American boats are fast, and Americans are tough. And that's what was best. Been that way for hundreds of years. The more we tap into that, even stronger we can be.
Breitbart News Daily with Mike Slater, weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot.
Freedom never gets old.
This is SiriusXM Patriot, channel 125.
Hi, this is Texas Governor Greg Abbott in for Sean Hannity, and we just had a great conversation with the great United States Senator from the state of Texas, Ted Cruz, talking about James Tallarico and his race for the United States Senate in Texas. And I thought there would be nobody better to talk about that than our very own Texas Senator Ted Cruz. And we talked about, whether or not James Tallarico can really get elected. And I got to tell you, when people really see the craziness of what James Tallarico has voted for, there's no way the guy can get elected. Texans are not in favor of boys and girls sports like Jimmy Tallarico is. We call him Six Gender Jimmy. And Six Gender Jimmy, listen, he's for higher taxes. He's for gender mutilation of children and lab-grown meat. There's no way a guy like that can win in Texas. But I got to tell you, I want you to know that we have another guest coming up here shortly. A guest that does have a connection with Texas, but very importantly to this show, he's going to be a first-time caller to the Sean Hannity show. And trust me, this is going to be a person you're going to want to hear from. So stay tuned. For now, I just want you...
In a world drowning in AI everything, where your news feeds and shows get faked and filtered, there's still one place showing real stories, real moments, live. Reels Plus. Home to America's #1 cable entertainment program, On Patrol Live, capturing police in real time across the U.S., plus thousands of hours of true crime, policing, and celebrity stories. So escape the fake and choose what's real. Subscribe now for just $4.99 per month and get a free 7-day trial at ReelsPlus.com. That's Reels with a Z, or anywhere you get your streaming apps.
If you have a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage rate, don't refinance it. You don't have to, but you can still get cash out of your home. Introducing Loan Pronto's zero-cost equity loan. Get all the cash you need without touching your first mortgage and without any fees. One local homeowner just got $100,000, paid off all their credit cards, paid off their existing HELOC, remodeled their kitchen, and saved over $1,500 per month. And it gets better. There's no hard credit pull up front, usually no appraisal, no long drawn-out process. And listen, no closing costs. You may even be able to skip your next 2 house payments. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call Loan Pronto now. 855 the number 2 Pronto. Leave your low rate mortgage intact to get the cash you need in as little as 2 weeks without paying closing costs. LoanPronto.com. See how much you can get right now. 855 Pronto. 855 Pronto. For qualified homeowners, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 and MLS ConsumerAccess.org. When you're running a business, there's one question that never goes away. What's actually bringing in customers? And too often, the honest answer is, I don't know. CallRail replaces that guesswork with clarity. With CallRail, you can connect every lead to the marketing that drove it, analyze your conversations, and capture leads around the clock, even when you're not available. That's why over 220,000 businesses use CallRail to market smarter and grow faster. Stop guessing what works and start proving it. Try CallRail free at callrail.com.
Stacey Washington. The founder of natural law, virtue, limited government, those against centralized government, emotionally driven rule, and this idea that how people feel should dictate policy. That's freedom. That's 250 years of America. May we have 250 more.
Stacey on the right, weeknight starting at 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old. And you're welcome. Freedom means you can chart your own course, cut your own path, live your own life. You can rise and fall on your own merits without the government being intertwined in every single personal decision that you make. That's what it means to be free, and that's what it means to be an American on the 250th birthday of this nation. The Will Count Majority, weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Freedom never gets old. Celebrating America 250. SiriusXM Patriot.
News this hour at Town Hall. I'm Agnew in Washington. President Trump has announced the U.S. will license its Patriot air defense systems being made overseas for Ukraine. That decision comes as a significant boost for Ukraine, which has been in a prolonged conflict with Russia, of course. And the president says Ukraine's President Zelensky is also excited to talk to the U.S. about increasing trade ties.
Ukraine has tremendous potential. He understands that. We talked about that. He talks about that more than he talks about the war. To me, I think you might find that more exciting. You know what? This is brutal. The other is the beauty of it. I think we'll build a great country. I think he's going to build it. We have a little stake in that country now because we have some land in that country where we have minerals. It's among the wealthiest. It's among the best land anywhere in the world for rare earth.
The U.S. and Iran have traded strikes once again.
U.S. military launched strikes on Iran early Wednesday. U.S. Central Command says it was to impose heavy costs after it says Tehran struck 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Targets included Iranian air defense systems, radars, and more than 60 small boats used by the paramilitary Revolutionary Guard to harass ships in the strait. The U.S. also revoked a license that had authorized the sale of Iranian oil. Iran immediately warned Washington it would take whatever measures it deems necessary, and apparently retaliated with strikes targeting Bahrain, home to the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet, and Kuwait, home to U.S. Army forces. I'm Ben Thomas.
A former Wisconsin judge has been spared from prison despite the fact she personally ushered a Mexican defendant out of a courtroom to evade ICE agents. Jason Luzak is Hanaduka's attorney.
She's lost so much throughout this process. The collateral consequences to her were great, and we appreciate that the judge took that into consideration. Whatever he sentenced her to a fine only in this case.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline, 800-305-6762. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-305-6762 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. That's 800-305-6762 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-305-6762.
It's still going to cost you a little bit more to toss a letter in the mailbox. Correspondent Laura Winters says now's the time to stock up on those forever stamps.
The U.S. Postal Service is once again raising the price of forever stamps and other postal rates. On Monday, the stamps will increase in price by 4 cents and will now cost 82 cents each. The increase to offset rising operational costs as the post office continues to lose money. Forever stamps purchased prior to July 12th will continue to work.
The International Monetary Fund has modestly downgraded its outlook for the world economy this year, and not surprisingly citing the role of higher energy prices brought on by the war between the U.S. and Iran. Fallout from the conflict is being tempered by booming investment, however, in the AI and other technology sectors. In fact, today on Wall Street, the NASDAQ was up by 51 points. More from townhall.com. Wesley Financial Group is not an offer.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331. 800-848-1331. Suffering with poison ivy and need relief fast? All Natural Marie Originals Poison Ivy Soap is your first line of defense against the noxious urushiol oil found in poison ivy. The sticky oil bonds to skin, clothes, and tools like axle grease. Marie Originals patented urushiol lock technology scrubs, traps, and eliminates the oil for instant relief guaranteed. So whether you had a recent brush with poison ivy or your rash is already spreading, the doctor recommended Marie Originals Poison Ivy Soap in the first aid aisle at Walmart today. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
I'm able to use. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. You start online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/apply. That's ethos.com/apply. Free testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Now we're coming to your city. Gonna lay our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be dying. I'm gonna tell you I'm done. And if you want a little banging in you, come along.
Yesterday was a big night for progressives. It's time for the old guard to step aside.
All these ideologies stem from this Christo-fascism movement.
We will not wait to abolish ICE and pass Medicare program.
Rapid fire. Do you support universal child care?
Yes.
Free school meals?
Yes.
Guaranteed pay leave?
Yes.
Abolishing ICE?
Yes.
Legalizing cannabis?
Yes.
A free Palestine?
Yes.
Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the
revolution. Yeah, we're coming to your city. Don't play our guitars and sing you a country song. Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America.
Welcome back to the Sean Hannity Show. I am Texas Governor Greg Abbott, and I am your guest host today. And very excited that we have a first-time caller to the Sean Hannity Show. But to set it up, I want to call for Cut 97.
We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those trucks. We just witnessed history.
Well, that was the world watching in amazement at the stunning accomplishment to catch a rocket that SpaceX had previously launched as it returned to Earth. Many Americans have seen the marvels of SpaceX, but really don't know much about what SpaceX is actually doing in their lives right now. And there is nobody better in the world, I should say maybe in the universe, to describe that than none other than Elon Musk. Elon, welcome to Sean Hannity Show.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, you and I talked before about your vision and about what you're doing, and I know that you have visited with those who have invested in SpaceX about what you're doing, but the truth is probably most of our Americans across the country really don't know much about what SpaceX is actually doing to affect their lives. Can you give us a short explanation about what SpaceX actually is doing right now for the average American?
Yeah, so SpaceX launches satellites that provide communication, especially the Starlink internet system. So Starlink provides global high bandwidth internet connectivity. So throughout the world, if you're anywhere from Texas to the North Pole or the South Pole or in the middle of the ocean, you can get high bandwidth, low latency internet connectivity, and it's the only such system that exists in the world. So that's the main thing that we launched with SpaceX. Then SpaceX also is the main provider to NASA for transporting astronauts to and from the space station, as well as resupplying the space station with cargo and bringing scientific experiments to and from the space station. So in fact, we're currently the only spacecraft, our Dragon spacecraft is the only spacecraft that is qualified by NASA to transport astronauts to and from the space station, besides the Russian Soyuz system. So we transport both U.S. and international astronauts to and from the space station.
So for those Starlink deployments, about how many launches do you have a year, and about how many satellites do you have across the universe?
Yeah, so SpaceX right now delivers about 85% of all the payload to orbit of Earth. So of the remaining 15%, most of that is China, and then I think they're probably about 8%, and then about roughly 7% is the rest of the world, including the rest of the U.S. So SpaceX transports almost 10 times as many satellites to orbit as the rest of the world combined. Yeah.
So after you move on from deploying satellites, as you cast your vision toward the next 10 years, which, by the way, every time I talk to you, it seems like you're constantly thinking 10 or even 20 or more years than that ahead. But what do you see SpaceX doing 10 years from now?
Well, hopefully we've established a base on the moon. And not just a base with a small number of people, but in 10 years, hopefully we've enabled thousands, if not tens of thousands of people to go to the moon, which it's going to seem like a pretty outrageous number, given that there's only about a dozen or so people that have been to the moon so far. But our Starship system is designed to carry ultimately tens of thousands of tons to the moon to create effectively a city on the moon, and ultimately a city on Mars as well. And the overarching goal of SpaceX is to extend life and consciousness as we know it beyond Earth to the rest of the solar system and eventually to other star systems.
So about how many years from now would it take to actually build a city on the moon? What are we talking about, 5, 10 years, more or less?
Yeah, I think we'll have landed our first people on the moon in less than 5 years. If things go well, we might be able to put the first astronauts on the moon in 2 to 3 years, and then expand rapidly from there, so that in say 10 years from now, there are thousands of people on the moon. And that's just go ahead. We want to ultimately make it such that anyone who wants to go to the moon, like any member of the public that wants to go to the moon, can go to the moon and go to Mars.
So a person who wants to go to the moon, we see astronauts go up there and they stay there for a couple of days and come back. But you're talking about a city on the moon. So when you are talking 10 years from now, people are going to the moon, would they be staying there for weeks, months, years? What would it be like?
Yes, I think it's up to the person. They may wish to go for a vacation on the moon, or they may wish to move permanently to the moon, depending on the individual. But I think we want to. It would be very cool to have a full-blown, self-sustaining city on the moon, like an actual metropolis on the moon. So the goal is that the way to think about it is we want to make the things that people see in science fiction not fiction. We want to make them real and become a true spacefaring civilization where we're up there with stars.
Like that.
That's a very
what they've done to
future. That's
customization.
Where, I think people can really look forward to it. And there need to be things in life that are not just about solving one miserable problem after another. Well, we need to solve the problems of Earth, of course, but we also need things that inspire us about the future and make us glad to be alive.
And I think it'd be a heck of a honeymoon trip to take a trip to the moon. Let's not go to Singapore. Let's go to the moon this year. That's something in the future. So another thing that I've heard you talk about is building data centers in space. Is that something that's going to be a reality, and if so, when?
Yeah, I think the way to expand compute is really in space. There's a lot of room in space, and if you look at the size of Earth relative to the Sun or relative to the solar system, you realize just how tiny Earth is. We're very, very tiny. We only receive about 500 millionth of the Sun's energy. So if you really think of Earth as being like a tiny dust mote in a vast office. So the way to expand compute without using up all the land on Earth is to do so in space, and then you can do it without using space for power and water on Earth. You can just do it in space. So I think we'll probably be launching our first AI satellites next year.
I won't be able to before the meeting, but I will later. I grabbed something on the way to Defiance. So.
In about 2 years.
That's just incredible. Well, listen, you're such an inspiring individual, and you have accomplished so much, and you still have so much ahead of you. But you inspire different people in different ways, and one of which is what happened in the aftermath of SpaceX becoming a public company where people could go to the stock exchange and buy SpaceX stock. And when that happened, it suddenly made fortunes for long-standing SpaceX employees. And there was a story that I'm sure you've heard about and know about very well, and that is it was about a welder who I think began working for SpaceX in 2015, making about $28 an hour, who, when SpaceX became a public company, He became a millionaire. What do you think it means to the American dream that welders at SpaceX can work hard and then become independently wealthy because they work for such a remarkable business like SpaceX?
Yeah, well, I've always had the philosophy that everyone at the company should receive stock in the company so that they can participate in the upside of the company. And it's great for aligning incentives as well. So as the company prospers, then the people at the company, the employees also prosper. So that's just been my philosophy from day one is make sure everyone gets stock in the company. So there are, I think, several thousand people who've been made. It's not just one welder; it's several thousand people who were working on the production line. And if they started the company relatively early, then probably their stock is worth over $1 million at this point.
Just astonishing. Listen, you've been fabulous. I got two more quick questions for you. You mentioned Mars earlier. What does the Mars timeline look like with regard to what you want to accomplish there? We're talking more than 10 years, 20 years? Give us an approximation.
Yeah, so with Mars is much harder to get to than the Moon, and you can only travel to Mars roughly every 2 years. So the Earth and Mars, the planets align such that you can travel to Mars only once every 26 months. So that makes it a lot harder than the Moon, where you can go to the Moon pretty much any time. And it only takes a few days to get to the Moon, whereas it takes about 6 months to get to Mars. So that's why we can do the Moon faster than we can do Mars. But I think probably if things go well, we can probably send the first people to Mars in about 5 years, and then rapidly increase the cadence of sending people to Mars thereafter. So every 2 years, we would dramatically increase the number of ships going to Mars, and hopefully in the 10 or 12 year time frame, we've sent thousands of people to Mars.
Just astonishing. Well, listen, you've been a great guest and a great Texan, I must add, and we're proud that you are in Texas. We're proud that SpaceX is headquartered in Texas. We're proud, I'm going to quote you here about something you said at the announcement of TerraFab, that all of your exes live in Texas. And of course, Starbase Texas is in the Lone Star State and will be known not just around the world, but pursuant to your aspirations, it's going to be known.
Optimal launch time for sending.
And that is, now that you have all these Texas connections, can we finally get a Texas emoji flag on your platform X?
Sure. I will ask the team to make great flag. And we've got a giant Texas flag. I'm here at the Giga Texas factory right now. We've got a big Texas flag, American flag and a Texas flag, just right outside the building. Certainly I'd like to thank you and everyone for all the support we've gotten in Texas. It's a great state to do business in. It's super supportive, and I think really emblematic of American values. So, I love being here and love being a Texan.
Well, thank you. We're very proud of you. Keep up your great work, and maybe we'll see you on the Moon one day.
All right, sounds good. See you.
Take care, Elon. What a guest. What a man. He's the leading visionary of our time. Thomas Edison, just like that, maybe even bigger. Dreaming for the stars and actually reaching the stars, unlike anybody in the history of mankind. The one and only Elon Musk. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back again to the Sean Hannity Show.
Elections, polls, campaigns, the latest news on your candidate. We've got you covered this election year. Lock it in right here on the Sean Hannity Show.
So the next window will be about around December of this year for launches to Mars.
And sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders.
According to the Googles.
If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Let me find a show.
Let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits. Fed up with stubborn earwax? Get WaxRx from Dr. Easy. Dr. Easy's professional ear washers have been used over 40 million times by medical professionals. Now you can get the same results at home with WaxRx, the personal ear wash system. Just like our professional ear washers, WaxRx flushes away stubborn earwax without a trip to the doctor. Don't be fooled by store brands and cheap knockoffs. Pull into a Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart right now and get the original Dr. WaxRx in the ear care aisle. It's the last Friday of the month and you're in the office late again. One report is still incomplete because you're waiting on one last receipt. You sent emails, pinged Slack, maybe even wandered over to someone else's desk. You've done everything except the actual job of closing the books. RAMP is for finance teams who are tired of the chase. Imagine a team member makes a purchase and you instantly see the charge, the receipt, and the category all in one place. No more digging through inboxes or chasing late submissions. RAMP automatically enforces your policies and scripts line by line. We're prepared to do that, but I'm going to give the court categories without referring to specific portions. Specifically, there are many portions of it which are not the statement of Mr. Twiggs. They're Mr. McBride testifying on video as to what other exhibits say. And Mr. Twiggs saying, yeah, that's what he said. That's a leading question.
All right. Tell them over at Viva I sent you. We may be live again later on today. We'll see how the ball bounces.
First of all, it's counsel. Second of all,
parking the shade over here.
It's Mr. McBride's out-of-court statements as to what an exhibit says. There's a best evidence rule, which is that the best evidence of what an exhibit says is the exhibit. So we may have a little bit of a part before the horse here, because there are two exhibits that I'm very confident.
All right.
There are portions.
All right. Raid started. You should be heading over there in a minute. For a second.
There are portions which I believe are inadmissible.
Later, brother.
Balances under 403, the probative value